Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Honey Flow Talk Show, and welcome YouTube and Facebook as well. We have a special guest. These are actually different hours today because we have a special guest from the UK, which is about 5 hours ahead of our Eastern time. So we didn't want it being too late for him. So we're bringing him on a little earlier, doing a show a little earlier. Excited to bring him on. He seems like a great guy as well. He's the creator of 45 Day, which is a worldwide celebration of 7-inch vinyl culture and DJs. He does so many different things. He's a DJ, live streamer, talk show host. That's going to be interesting talking to him about that as well. He's a community builder, event organizer, and podcaster. One thing that really stuck out in my mind is he's an advocate for mental health, and mental health awareness was just last month for June. So, anyone that watches my show knows that I always advocate for different causes, especially with this and hearing, men's perspectives. A lot of men on my show have opened up their stories about mental health, over 200 interviews. It's been a lot. So let's bring him in. He also does 45 Kids projects. So that's spearheaded by his 10-year-old daughter. So that's going to be interesting to hear how he works with kids too. So let's bring in 45 Day from the UK. If you don't know him, definitely add him, follow him, and we're going to dig into his experience as well. So let's bring him in. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the invite. Yeah, that's a lovely intro. Thank you so much. I'm just going to say quickly, if it's okay, hello to Salman Matters, Shoestring Sound, Double P, Staffy Smile, some of the crew. Come over to Honey Flow's channel and let's go on to there and let's chat there and build in that community.
Okay, awesome. Good to see all you guys. Yeah, for sure. We are officially on twitch.tv/DJ Honeyflow. For those that are on YouTube, Facebook, definitely come down. If you are listening from YouTube and Facebook, definitely just put a message, put a comment in, because I know you guys are quieter over there. Yeah, sorry?
Let us know that you're out there and that you're
Yes,
tuned in.
yeah, they're so quiet, but yet they're listening, which is interesting. I find I don't know if you stream to Facebook or YouTube. Do you stream to those?
So I stream to Twitch and also to Instagram and Facebook. Tonight I'm streaming the two destinations, Twitch and YouTube. It tends to be in Twitch. I don't know, because that's like my main platform, but that seems to be where everyone is. I get the odd thumbs up in Facebook. And when we did a show with Funky Chef, we were streaming to his YouTube, and he's got like 110,000 followers or something. So there's a lot of chat then because they were suddenly surprised to see him live as opposed
Mhm.
to doing video mixes. So yeah, I think Twitch for me is the one where people sort of talk.
Yeah, it's interesting, these different apps. I feel the same way. Sometimes you feel like no one's tuning in on Facebook, but I remember taking a flight back to my home city, running into people I haven't seen in like 20 years. They're like, "Yeah, we always watch your show." I'm like, "What? You never say anything. It's always quiet." But lots of, and as someone I met on a flight that tuned into my show, so it's pretty cool. You never know who's out there listening, right?
Right. And it's like the lurkers, we have, because of what we do DJing wise, there's always people sort of lurking and working. So they can't get to a keyboard or a phone to type anything in, but they're still checking in. So you just never know who's listening.
Yeah, it's so true. Thanks for coming through, you guys. Definitely see some new people here. Salmon Mattis, DJ
Yes, yes.
Double, and Staffy Smile. Let's see here. Shoestring Sound. It looks like definitely your
Yeah.
tribe is in the building, and I'm sure my tribe will be surprised
Yeah.
to see
I'm,
me
I'm
at this
sure
time.
most of them will get a mention, but the one that'll probably be the most when we get to the mental health bit is definitely Double P. So we'll talk a lot about him when we get to
Okay.
that stage.
Awesome. Love that. So are you originally, whereabouts are you in the UK? And are you originally from there as well?
Okay, so we live in a place called Eastbourne, which is known as the Sunshine Coast, and it is in the UK, and it is about 60 miles south of London and about 25 miles east of Brighton, and then about 20 miles west of Hastings. And they're sort of places that most people, if you've heard about the UK, you've probably heard of London, probably heard of Brighton. So yeah, and my parents are both from Cyprus originally. They moved to the UK when there was troubles going on there, and the sort of Turkish invasion in '74. So both my parents are Greek Cypriot, but I've been born here and I've sort of lived here pretty much all my life.
Nice. What could you say about your area that's special? Like someone that's Canadian, like myself, not completely familiar, only, but I do have a British audience too that I've interviewed too. So I've learned a lot from them. You guys have your own slang, your own dialect, your own jokes. I know everyone was like laughing in the chat room. I'm like, shoot, I'm not understanding some of these jokes, but you
Yeah.
guys definitely have your own thing going on there, which I love. But what can you tell others from other countries what your city has to offer?
That's a good question. Well, I can sort of encourage people to come and watch my streams because I shoot videos on my phone of local areas and I play it. For example, we've got a great beach because we're right on the coast. It's sort of pebbles. It's not like a big sandy beach or anything like that, but that's cool. And then there's a pier, a sort of old Victorian pier that goes into the water where people can sort of walk on it and play arcade games. And we've got somewhere called Beachy Head, which is very famous for good and bad reasons. It's like a really high cliff, and then there's this beautiful sort of red and white lighthouse at the bottom. But sadly, it is, and obviously, again, coming back to the mental health thing, and one of the charities we support, Calm, relates to suicide. It is unfortunately one of the suicide capitals of the UK. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
quite a interesting concept that there is this amazing beautiful countryside and all of this, but yet this is somewhere that sometimes people decide they're going to come and sort of end their lives. I'm sorry you've gone deep so quickly. I wasn't
No, that's okay. Hey, I'm all about
um,
going deep, so that's okay. Yeah.
but it's only when people ask you about this, and I don't know if you find this, if you have visitors to your city. Forgive me, I can't remember where your city, where is your
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada? Yes, of
Yeah.
course, I've got a few friends there. Definitely shout out Babs and a few other people later. But yeah, when people come to visit it, you take them to all these cool places, and you're like, oh, actually, yeah, I forgot how great my town was, or my city. I forgot there was all these really cool things here. So it's a bit like that. So come to Eastbourne. It's not got the most interesting in terms of culture. There's not like a huge amount going on. But having said that, there's this contrast because we've got a great art gallery in town, and it's called the Towner, and they just had the what is it, the Tate exhibition and competition from last year. But again, that is this amazing art gallery
Mhm.
juxtaposed to everything else that's going on in the city.
Okay, nice. Have you been to a lot of Twitch groups out there, like Ray Domingo or any of those groups out there? I know there's so many people from the UK right now.
DJ Ray Domingo is an interesting one. So some of the events I organise, I get sort of DJs together. But this one was DJ Immaculate and also DJ Tanner, who are part of Funk Collectic, and they were coming to the UK to go to Shindig Festival. And I was like, right, okay, I can't get to the festival, but let's meet on the Wednesday before. So arranged to meet, and Ray Domingo had suggested this pub. And we're like, okay, we'll just go there. But it's just me, Immaculate, and Tanner. And then Ray Domingo walks in, and then DJ Little Fever walks in, and then DJ Candyman walks in. So yeah, I have been to one of those gatherings, but a bit more randomly than was expected.
Okay, Lil Fever, isn't he from Ottawa? He's from here?
Mm. Yeah, he was over from Canada. He'd come
Oh,
over
sweet.
from Canada to meet with the Twitch family, the Twitch community, Global Funk Fam, and to go to Shindig Festival. And I don't think he was expecting to, but they managed to sort of give him a gig at this festival, which was the 10th year and the last year they were doing it. So yeah, he had an amazing time, and it's
Oh,
all
wow.
through Twitch and all through meeting people.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if you've gone to some of those groups. I wonder if you met my mod Mimi Berry. You know her? She's from the
No,
UK.
I
No?
don't
Okay.
think so. No,
Or Inch
no.
High. She's an amazing DJ. Inch High
Inch High, yeah,
73
yeah, yeah.
from the
I know Inch
UK.
High. Yeah, yeah.
Trying to
She was
think.
at Soul Train
David C.
a
Dennis.
couple of weeks ago
Yeah.
on the 1st of June. Was your mod there? Was she at Soul Train?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Definitely.
I
Yeah,
don't think
she
I
would
met
have
her.
been there.
Okay, we might have crossed paths somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Definitely a small world. Yeah. There's so many people, David C. Dennis and
Yeah,
Drew UK. And I mean, so many great people from the UK. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I find it, the DJ is kind of a bit similar in Canada. Like, you guys play a lot of cultural mixes, which we are huge on too. So I've
Yeah.
kinda noticed that with the UK playing, dance hall and lovers rock, like so many different genres of music, which we do here a lot in Canada too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a proper eclectic place, and it's why I enjoy playing 45s, because you can play whatever you like, and like you say, even just the dance hall, the reggae, the lovers rock, even just within reggae, there's all those sort of little subgenres. But I think because the UK is quite a multicultural place, all these music styles have
Mhm.
come in from abroad because it's an island, and that's what happens. It attracts people to there, and it's great that we have this amazing mix, but we can also all enjoy it even now. There's still a big mix of music going out.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to the beginning of your journey, like how old were you when you knew, okay, I'm really interested in music, and what kind of inspired you to get into music?
Um, okay, it's a good question, and I ask similar questions. So I think I was always into music from a young age, and I remember telling this story because this room that I'm in, that I stream in, used to be my sort of playroom when I was about 5 years old. Because my parents owned this house, moved to another house, rented it out, and then we bought this house from them. So this is actually my
Oh, nice.
original music playroom. And I remember sitting on the floor, and I had one of those blue record um, decks that sort of lifted over the top, and I was listening to the Grease soundtrack.
Mhm.
So this would have been probably about 1980. So I was about 5 years old. So then, yeah, I think from then I've just loved music, but it wasn't really, I think, till I got into my teenagers that I sort of got really into music, in terms of, right, having to read all the magazines, see what albums are going to come out. There was no internet back then, so obviously you had to sort of read magazines, find out. Get. I was digging through. You used to get sent a postcard to tell you that an album was coming out from an artist, so that you would know. So it's very different to now. But yeah, I think going down to the shop and the music shop every Monday to get the new releases, that's, I think, when the addiction to music took hold. And then just kept buying records. It was mainly CDs then, and then always wanted to be a DJ, but that didn't happen till a lot later. Probably about 30, when I bought some decks and a mixer, started DJing, and then started putting on events, like little things and little pubs. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey before we even get to 45 Day, before we even get to sort of Twitch, really.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, wow. That's definitely interesting. Have you, done radio or, anything like that too?
Only a very small amount. Before I was doing 45 Day, I was doing some digital DJing with the Jelly Funk All Stars. So big shout out to Big 404, who was one who got me back into 45s, and Toby Kenobi, who's a good friend of mine. And we did some radio shows, sort of live streaming online. I can't remember what the name of the Reckless Radio or something like that. And so we did a bit of that. But again, that was more DJing. It wasn't sort of talking or anything like that. So it was only really when we started on Twitch that I've started doing this sort of playing music and talking at the same time.
Okay, so who would be, your inspirations for DJs then? Like, growing up, who would that, look like? Or who was that earlier on?
um, okay, so growing up was sort of 94. It was sort of the end of the rave culture,
Mhm.
and then sort of start of grunge, but it was things like the Prodigy. So it wasn't really DJs necessarily. It was more artists like like Moby, like Prodigy, like SL2, like all of these sort of UK rave artists. And then it was a case of getting into the drum and bass scene. And then I started hanging out with the Cywax crew, so people like Marlon and Dub One. Um, and on a bigger scale, that's obviously the local DJ I'd be following. On a bigger scale, people like DJ Shadow was a big influence, Cut Chemist. And these are artists that obviously I would see and perhaps would go and see a live show. And they were inspiring. And obviously they're using vinyl, and, they're doing the 45s thing. And I think slowly, all of that has sort of seeped in to get to where we are sort of today.
Nice. How many would you say you have? Let's zoom in. Oh, shoot, I can't see because the camera's
45s.
gonna just double check.
I've put on my thing. It's not exact, but I have put on my Twitch. I think there must be about 4,500.
Let's see, I'm trying to make him bigger, guys, so
There
he
you
could
go. So
see.
each of these is what is there? Three, four,
Wow,
6. There's a load of these boxes. They probably have about 150 each. There's some
crazy.
there. Um, there's some over there which you can't see. There's some there you can't see, and there's still loads on the floor. When I got this, my brother built me this unit
Oh, that's so
specifically to fit
cool. Nice.
specifically to fit these sort of 45 things. I was like, yeah, I get all my records there. I won't have them all over the floor, and yet here we are. There's still
I like how you
records.
did it. It's so organized, right, guys? Like,
Um,
puts us all to shame.
it's not as organized as you think. It's all
Oh,
pretty
looks pretty
random
organized to me.
records. I need to go through and like make that a funk box, make that like a soul, make that like a hip hop, so then I can find stuff. At the moment, it's just like random
Really?
text.
So you're not
Yeah,
putting them back in the same place? Like, you're just, like
no. There's a little bit. There's a few rows which are like I know that are covers, and then I've got like a reggae, a hip hop, and a funk down there.
Mhm.
So there's those that I know I can go to for that, but
Oh, that's
unless it's in
cool.
front of me. But it adds to the chaos, but adds to the eclecticism of how I DJ on Twitch. Because like,
That's
okay,
true.
it's just I can just dig,
Do you
and
ever
that's what
get
DJing's
nervous
about.
though? Like, say if you have a big room or people coming in or a big raid, and then you're like, "Oh shoot," you're scrambling in your mind, like, "Okay, what am I? What's next?" Or you know?
um, yeah, sometimes I think I've got like a box. For example, I did a 45 live mix, and so I know that most of that stuff's there. And then I did like my 45-day mix, and then I've got 2 bags down there, which is a lot of the music I took to Panama. So
Wow.
now I'm relatively good that I can drop at any point and can
Mhm.
turn it sort of into a party or something like that.
And do you, because DJs are always known to, bring more, right? Like, it's like if
Yeah,
we have 50,000 songs, we're gonna bring it. We're always over preparing all the time,
yeah.
and I had a DJ say to me because my hard drive crashed, and he's like, "Well, don't worry. It's not like you need 50,000 songs for 5 hours of DJing, you know?" But we're so, like, we like to be over prepared, right? So, with your 45s, how many would you say you're actually bringing to a show that you're doing?
Um, it depends how long a DJ set is. I would say if I'm doing a 2-hour set, for example, I did a 4-hour set on Friday at a record shop, and I took one of those boxes. You might just be able to see it up there, which probably had about 75, and then another smaller bag which had about 50. So that's about 125. Now I didn't play all of those records,
Mhm.
but it had the scope there for a 4-hour show to be able to say, right, I'm going to do a bit of reggae, I'm going to do a bit of hip hop, I'm going to do a bit of Latin, I'm going to be able to do that. So, yeah, something like that. So, a 2-hour show, maybe 70, something like that.
Have you ever had a crazy incident where you, like, brought the wrong 45s or, like, maybe the wrong equipment or you forgot a chord or something crazy at any of your shows?
Um, I think now we've started live streaming, it's more to remember. And so, for example, I'm always forgetting the cable that goes from the mixer
Oh,
to my
yes.
audio card to get
Oh,
that into my laptop.
yeah.
And I forgot it when we went to Panama, and I was like, "Shit,
Oh,
we
shoot.
can't do the stream." But thankfully, someone got a cable, and then I did it again on Friday. So
Oh,
that's the
man.
thing at the moment. It hasn't ruined it because it's been able to be fixed, but that's the sort of thing you have to remember so much.
You
It's
have to
not like
remember so much,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not like a USB, literally a USB stick, plugging
So
it in,
true.
and then that's it. And headphones, maybe not even headphones, earbuds. It's
Exactly.
a,
I think
a
when
kid now can DJ with literally a USB stick
Oh, yeah, and a
and
laptop,
earbuds.
that's it.
It's
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it?
it is crazy, and especially when we get more into this virtual world. I don't know if you saw the DJs with the
Yeah.
eyeglasses, and you're literally going like this midair, and now you're a DJ, which is crazy. DJ Double says, "Yes, playing 45s is organized chaos." I love that statement. Salmon Mattis says, "Organized chaos," which is true. How you doing, DJ Big Al 350? Good to see you. Interviewed him
Hello, Big
earlier.
Al.
He's definitely fun to bug too. Make sure you guys check out our replay. I challenged him to a rap battle and he was scared of Honey Flow. which normally happens.
I,
All
I
right. So,
can't rap, so don't challenge me to a rap battle.
oh yeah, don't challenge you. That's okay. Oh man. So, I guess are you one of the few DJs that brings like that plays on 45s when you go out? And you do it in a special way, right? Like I was reading up, which I thought was cool, you guys. So he plays 45s at an unconventional speed of 33 RPM, which does push the boundaries of traditional DJing. I think that's really cool. That's like very unique.
Yeah, that's two sort of separate areas. But yeah, let me answer
Hmm.
the first bit first, and then we'll talk about slow mo. But yeah, um, I think it's been interesting because obviously before the pandemic, obviously I was aware of other 45s DJs, through stuff online like 45 Live and a couple of other groups, but it didn't seem that there was that many people. And I think what happened is the pandemic got people to DJ who weren't perhaps DJing before, and a lot of people I think got into it as well. So as that happened, more and more people were coming out of the woodwork, and you're like, "Oh, you're a 45s DJ. That's amazing." Or you'd catch
Hmm.
someone on Instagram. "Oh, that's really cool. I see you like 45s. Get involved?" And so we've sort of built this community. So in terms of now going out, when I go out, I think there is more 45s DJs. And it's something that's happened in Cambridge. We started and did an event in Cambridge in February last year. And we just invited probably quite a few of the community from the 45 day, and then a couple of local Cambridge. But it's interesting over the year and a half that that's generated more and more 45s DJs, but DJs who were playing 12s or DJs who were playing digital deciding, oh, it's cool, let's play 45. So we're slowly taking over, I
Hmm.
think, the sort of scene, because people like vinyl. I think people still like vinyl, and there is still something about it. So um, I'm not just the only person coming out there doing these events,
Hmm.
but I think it's growing, and it's great to see. For example, Soul 45 have just done a 4-night residency at a bar in Glastonbury Festival, the biggest festival in the world. So yeah, I think it's growing. I think it's growing.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's really good. So do you have like controllers then? I mean, I come from more the I would love to learn how to play vinyls, but I come obviously from CDJs like back in 2000s. I think I still have them
Yeah,
packed in my suitcase, but I hated that era because the CDs for me would always skip, even if you put them in the binders, like they'd always be skipping on me. I still have them skipping in my car because I still use CDs in my car, guys.
yeah. I've,
But
I've still got CDs in my car.
yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's it's just nice to be able to listen to an album
Mhm.
on a CD when obviously now, because of the way I'm DJing, it's constantly listening to a single. So yeah, CDs are still cool.
So do you have, like, any controllers? Have you also upgraded to
Um,
kind of the newer
yeah,
technology?
it's sort of yes and no. I haven't got like a big all-in-one controller. It's something that I'm sort of looking at to possibly get Zizi, my daughter, at some point because she wants to be playing more recent music rather than 45. So that's something that she's sort of moving into.
Yeah.
But I've got a DJM S7 Pioneer mixer, which has sort of it is also a controller for Serato, um, but it's got sort of effects and stuff in. So it's almost like a controller in there.
Yeah.
But in addition, I've got phase. So when I do a digital set, I have got phase, but I'm still using the turntables, and I'm still using like a 7-inch record for the phase to use Serato. So it's sort of a controller, but it's really this mixer that sort of allows us to do some of the stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It just seems like it would be quite heavy, like, bringing in everything, setting up everything,
Oh, it
you
is,
know?
yeah. it's
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. If you want to, if the venue hasn't got decks and mixer, and a lot of venues in the UK don't. There's a few that do, but a lot of them don't. They might have CDJs, or a different mixer. So yeah, having to bring 2 decks, a mixer, sometimes a PA system as well, before you've even got to carrying your records. Which
for
is why you
sure.
think, right, let's play 45s. That's one slightly smaller thing to carry.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, out here, they have a lot more built-in controllers, like, sometimes they
Yeah,
bolt to the table or just at different venues or different things that you're at, so that's common, but it definitely would be fun learning, you know, on turntables. Like you feel like you're going from Drake to like, I don't know, Nas or like Run DMC. Even if I don't know how to play like on
Yeah.
vinyl, like you feel like that because it just feels different, right? It's I feel like it's more
Yeah.
fun.
It, it
Mhm.
it it definitely is more fun, and I think that's one of the reasons I play it, because with playing 45s, you're playing like a record, and then you've only got
Mhm.
3.5 minutes, 4 minutes maybe, before you got to get the next record right, and it's got to flow, and
Mhm.
they're usually bangers because that it's a single. It's usually the best, or the traditional was
Mhm.
the best track on an album or whatever would come out as a single. But they are a lot of fun, but it keeps you on your toes, and it just allows you also to sort of be more eclectic. So yeah, and it's the feel of
Yeah.
vinyl as well.
And that's what we kinda did on, cassette tapes too, wait
Yeah,
all day, press record and play for that one song, then stop it when we made our mixtapes, and then, you
yeah,
know, press that record and play again a little bit. It kind of I just feel like it would be a lot of pressure though. You would have to know your music, like where things are. If you're doing a large festival, like you would have to like work fast and be
yeah.
concentrated,
I think
Um
if you're when we've sort of done festivals before, so a couple of years ago, I went to Glastonbury, and we did, I think, 4 or 5 DJ sets around the festival. You just sort of think, right, I've got to do like a cocktail bar. So you like work out, right, I'm going to take that, which is like a cocktail bar set. Okay, then I've got a late night set. So
Mhm.
that's that. So, and obviously at festivals, you can't carry too many records around. So again, you're limited to what you were asking earlier, probably about 100, 125 records. But yeah, you just try and work it out in that way and be as prepared as you can, but also make sure every record in your bag you can play the A side and the B side, because then you've
Mhm.
suddenly got 250 songs rather than 125. But
So
it
I
also
guess
makes you
you
much more focused.
Exactly. So I guess you probably don't take requests at all then if you're
We don't like requests.
and you probably just do it you people are probably so used to how you play that you're in control of it, like whatever
Yeah.
you wanna play and do, which is nice because that doesn't happen with a
Yeah, I
lot of
mean, you say to people, "Look, I'm playing 7-inch vinyl," and they're like, first, unless
they
they're
don't
into
get
music,
it.
they're like, "Oh, what's that?" Or, "I didn't realize you're playing vinyl," or something like that, because they think you're just playing off a controller, or you're playing off Spotify or whatever. Um, but yeah, they can make the request. If I've got it, then I'll play it. But unless it sort of really fits in with what we're playing at the moment, I'm probably not going to have it.
What's the craziest request that you remember out of how many years that you've ever gotten that you're like, "Are you
Um,
serious?"
Yeah, well, it's almost like this crazy request and then a second request. So let me tell you the first.
Mhm.
So first story is, we were DJing at a bar in Eastbourne, and I think it was like a hip hop, funk, sort of reggae, because that's the sort of stuff we're playing. And someone came up and said, "Oh, you know what would absolutely kill this dance floor? It'd be like if you played Erasure." Now,
Oh
Erasure, like
boy.
a UK band that's sort of like a poppy band sort of thing. And we're like, no, we're not going to play that. And then I was telling that story at another DJ event with my friend, and I was telling him the exact same story, that this is what had happened. And then someone went up to the decks and asked for the very same thing as I was telling the story. So for me, that was like, what? How have they both requested that same song as I'm telling a story about the song? So yeah,
That's
that's
so
probably the
funny.
craziest.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. Who knows? They probably knew each other. She's
Yeah, yeah,
probably like, "He's not listening to me, DJ,
yeah,
go up there and ask him now." It's so
yeah, yeah,
funny. Wow. Well, that's cool. So you're the creator of the 45 day, which we talked about,
yeah,
celebration of worldwide DJs that are on 7-inch vinyls as well. Now you did an event, you were saying in Panama, which I thought was really interesting. How were you
yeah,
able to work? I've been to Panama, it's beautiful,
yeah.
but
Oh,
how were you
amazing.
able to, do that in Panama, and what was the response? I'm so curious about that.
Okay, so the Panama stream came along through me organizing a stream from Panama of DJs. There's
Mhm,
another group I used to work for called the 45 Kings, and I used to organize country streams from, we did sort of Germany, we did like Russia. We did a Canadian one. We did like city ones, and I'd
Nice.
done one from Panama, probably 2 or so years ago, through Malong from the Asymmetrics. I said, right, can you gather a load of DJs from Panama? And he was like, yeah, I'll just invite them around to my house. We'll have a barbecue, and then they can all DJ 45-minute sets, and it's fine. So then the next year we did the same again, but I also interviewed on a separate channel, dual streaming, the DJs who were involved. And I jokingly was like, oh yeah, one day, I might be out in Panama and I might see you all, thinking, it's never going to happen because it's like the other side of the
So
world,
far
pretty much from
away.
us,
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
UK to Panama.
Hmm.
And then Malong was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. We might have to be moving in a few years' time. And I was like, right, let's just get out there. Showed my wife. I said, look, we can go here. What do you think? She looked at it. Neither of us have been to Central America before. And
Wow.
it looked relatively safe-ish for a sort of
Hmm.
Central American country for children. And there seemed to be lots to do. Like, right, let's book a flight and go out there and do it. And then between myself and Malong, sort of a lot of WhatsApping back and forth, he got in touch with a guy called Camarita, who had DJ'd before on the streams, and he'd just gone in on a partnership on a brand new venue, which was streaming on Twitch, and it's like a boiler room setup. So you've got the camera there, the DJ's there, and then you've got sort of all the dancers behind. And he was like, right, we're going to do an event. So again, he put together all the local DJs. And then we flew out there, did a couple of sets before at like a record shop and a cocktail bar, and then we did 12 hours of 45s. We had
Wow.
DJs of like all ages, all genders, totally inclusive, including my daughter, who played, as a
Amazing.
10-year-old. I think possibly the only girl DJ who's ever played in Panama City. I don't know,
That's
maybe someone else
crazy.
lives there.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
definitely.
know. That's what some people there were saying, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was just incredible, and it was just great to, firstly, from this Twitch and sort of internet friendship and connection, be able to go and do something like that,
Hmm.
and involve local people. So we had like the local record sellers. We had like the best sort of burger food truck in Panama came, and then they did like a burger thing. There was like a special beer brewed, sort of pineapple beer which happened to be 4.5%. We had break dancers.
Oh,
It
cool.
was just incredible,
That's so
from the other side of
incredible.
the world getting to this stage.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. I was gonna say thank you, Strud Muffin, for the resubscription. 20 months strong with me. How you doing, Struds? Good to see you. Do you know Struds? Have you met him?
Yes, I know Strats. Yes,
He's
hello.
famous in the UK, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Um,
Yes,
yeah. Oh, hey, we got Tilt on the lurk. Best beard game in town. Now some of my tribe is
that is a
coming
good
in.
beard.
Yeah, that is a good beard, right? I think he needs to be
Yeah,
on like a like one of those beard commercials for men, or the
beard
Silver
oil.
Fox Gang in the States. Exactly. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've seen the Silver Fox Gang. They wear the hats and like
no,
have the silver beards. Yeah, and the ladies all go crazy. Anyways, that's definitely in the States. Good to see you, Streds. Thanks for coming through. Thank you for subbing. Appreciate you. For all you guys I don't know, because I know he's streaming to his channels, you guys come down to this channel under DJ Honeyflow. We're actually here live on this channel, not on his channel. But if you guys want to stay there and have popcorn and chill out there too, you can. But we are on this channel right now under DJ Honeyflow. Oh, okay. DJ Double says I have met Strutters. He's
yeah,
got many nicknames on Twitch. We call him Strud Muffin. But he's got many nicknames on Twitch for sure.
yeah. The
Um,
Twitch thing, you have to go
oh,
around and you have to have a sticker.
Strudalicious.
You have to have a sticker that
Jeez.
tells people who you are. We had this at Soul Train, where when we got straight with Soul Train, they handed stickers out, and it's like, "Hello, my name is," and obviously you put your Twitch alias, and so you can. It's also a good icebreaker. Oh,
Exactly.
you're this person that I've
Yeah, for
seen on
sure.
Twitch, but I've never met before. It's great.
Were you ever surprised seeing people? I think it's usually the height. People are like, "Oh, I didn't realize you're that short," or "I didn't realize
Yes,
you're that tall."
everyone is much shorter than I think they are. Apart
Yeah.
from, I think who is it? There's one person who's taller than I thought it was going to be. Ragnar. Ragnar is like as huge as people think. Some people know, and Ragnar. But yeah, generally everyone else is much shorter. I think it's the camera angles. that we set up to
It
make
most
ourselves look a bit
definitely is
taller.
the camera angles. Yeah. I mean, I'm only 5'1", but I feel 6 feet like on the camera. So
Yeah.
it's definitely, we got our tricks like with the
Yeah.
camera, especially the
That's why we don't.
ladies,
Yeah.
the camera angles. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
um,
mean, much respect to the ladies. I've spoken to quite a few women DJs on my show, and it's something that we were talking about with Josie Star, and she was like, you guys DJs can pretty much, and this is very true, I think of most of us, just literally switch the camera on and just start
mhm.
streaming. Whereas she was like, you're gonna do my hair, gonna do my makeup, gonna sort of like make sure I'm wearing not the same t-shirt I was wearing last week, or all this stuff. It's interesting to hear that, because it's not something we as men, I think, have to deal with. I think now we're streaming,
Exactly.
okay, I'm gonna wear this t-shirt, or I'm gonna wear that t-shirt, but that's about the extent of it, I think.
Mhm. It's definitely different for men and women. I know a lot of guy DJs will disagree with me and be like, "No, honey flow, that's not true." But it really is. Like interviewing a lot of women on my channel and trying to support as many as I can. It definitely there is definitely a difference. A guy doesn't have to really look cute. You could put on a baseball cap,
Yeah,
and
sometimes
you're
I
good
do.
and you're good to go. Although
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't
I
have
do
too much
that
hair,
one
so it's
hat.
not really a problem. But it's, but yeah, yeah. It's just interesting, the difference, and I think because it is a visual medium, and because you are streaming, I think there is more pressure.
Yeah,
Um,
there's
from
definitely different pressures, or if a woman's beautiful, then a lot of people in the industry will be like, "Oh, she only got the following because of the way she looks
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
way she dances," but they also don't realize there's a lot more pressure for those women to look good, to what they're wearing, how they're I guess they're working the camera, and then also DJing on top of that, right? Like it's
yeah.
definitely different. But I love how you work with your daughter. Like I love that and how kind of showcase her. And we're definitely going to talk about that in one sec. I just wanted to shout out. Oh, here's Mimi Berry, the woman of the hour
Hello,
I was
Mimi Berry.
talking about. So, Mimi Berry, have you ever met 45 Day? I'm sure you've seen him at
I
the
think we
event
may have been, like I said, I think we
in
might
the
have been at
UK.
Soul Train, but I don't
Yeah.
think we met.
She's the one that's the crazy girl probably running up to you, no, she's more introverted. It depends how much wine she has, I think, right, Mimi
Yeah.
Berry? Then she'll get loose on the dance floor, who knows, and say hi. Um, she's shaking her head like, "Why did I come?" How you doing, Mimi Berry? Great to see you. Miss you, girl. Mariposa in the building. Is this the mom or the daughter? I can never tell, but good to see all of you guys and your entire family. Let's see here, and everyone else that's coming through. Appreciate you, Salmon, and some of these other guys in the chat. Have you
Say
guys?
bonjour or bonsoir to DJ Yamcha from France.
Oh,
Great,
DJ Yamcha. Oh
great
yeah,
DJ.
he is
Amazing scratch DJ
amazing.
as well.
He is amazing from France. Oh my gosh, I love this guy's accent. I love just how he carries on. He's very, very sweet. Like, I don't know, he's got a sweet presence about him. And he's a
Yeah.
crazy, ridiculous, vinyl guy, which I love too. Hey, DJ TC Entertainment. Thank you so much. For the sub. Thank you so much, DJ TC Entertainment. Make sure you guys are adding him. Appreciate you. Thank you for subbing with your Prime, supporting my show as well. So, yeah, make your way to the Honey Flow show, you guys. I know we're streaming on different channels right now, but we're here on Twitch under DJ Honey Flow. So, come down. Feel free to hit the follow tab, but most importantly, hit the follow tab on 45 Day, an amazing DJ out of the UK doing big things. We just talked about Panama as well, and I just find that so interesting with Panama. Now, when you were listening to the Panama DJs, or is it Panamanian? I don't know if that's the right
Panamanian, I think. Yeah.
DJs. Yeah, like were they playing tons of reggaeton? What was their vibe when you were listening to them? Were they playing like house
That's
music? I know
um,
reggaeton,
big
merengue, all that is huge out
I'll
there.
tell you a story, and then we'll come back to that. But when we got there, myself, my wife, and my daughter, we went to the Caribbean coastside to stay, and it was, I think, Easter Saturday, and so there was so much reggaeton from where we're supposed to be just chilling out, having a really quiet evening, from the island over the other side of the water, because they were celebrating Easter, and I'm like, oh, I'm not really that into reggaeton, so what's going to happen?
Mhm.
But I think because it is 45's DJs, they come bringing their own stuff. For a start, there is reggaeton on 45, but probably not a huge amount. But I think if you're a 45's DJ, you go digging for funk and soul and hip hop and Latin. So the way it worked out is there was people like Neka and Jota Otis who were playing like traditional Panamanian records that they'd gone out into like the jungle in Panama to these like random houses and try and find collections from people. So that sort of music. And then we had like reggae from Buen Afro. We then had hip hop from Ritmo Ekis. We then had some more 80s stuff from Gonzalo Lazari. I played some break stuff. Then we had reggae. So there was just so much amazing music. But again, because these collections have been made the other side of the world, there's records that I've never heard before.
Mhm.
So it was an incredible sort of celebration of music. I mean, that was the whole point. The whole point is let's get people together to bring music from their collections that they love to share with you, and also on the live streams, because we live streamed it all as well. We did 12 hours on
Oh,
two channels, on two
I
Twitch
wish I
channels.
would have seen that. Do you have
It's
the
all on
replay?
YouTube. It's all on
Oh, it's
catch
on
up.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna check that because I was looking, I think, on your Instagram, or I was looking different places to see if I could call up some video footage. Maybe had to dig a little harder. So I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't check YouTube, so I'll check that.
There's a couple of
Um,
little clips on
that will be
my
dope.
Instagram of
Okay.
Ritmo Equus and also Gonzalo Lazari with some of the Off Limits breakdancing crew. So there's
Mhm.
a couple of little clips on my Instagram. But yes, the rest of it is all, I think 11. We didn't quite grab the first hour, but 11 of the 12 hours,
Oh, okay.
all on YouTube on El Cangrego Radio, which is the venue, and also on my YouTube, and that includes like ZZ set. My daughter.
Yeah.
It was incredible for me just to watch that when we got back. 2 weeks later, when the sort of dust had settled, to just sit down and sort of watch that and like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, that's
You know,
so
it's
awesome. That
insane.
would be so
And it's just the
incredible.
start.
Mhm.
That's just what we've done so far this year. I mean, the next stage is
That's
just
definitely huge. Yeah, we got
bonkers. Yeah,
King Melody in the building. Good to see you. DJ Double, Shoestring Sound as well. Do any of you guys know each other? Mimi Berry? I think some of these guys in this chat you might have met. DJ Yamsha. That's maybe some of the Twitch groups. Oh, we got DJ 777 in the building too. Good to see all you guys. DJ TC Entertainment. Make sure you guys are following DJ Yamsha. Oh my goodness, this guy's ridiculous in a good way on with his music. I always love his shows, so make sure you guys are following him as well. If you
Mimi
guys,
has met Shoestring.
oh, if you guys are a streamer, actually, what would help me, because I probably don't have too much time to shout all you guys out, but put a 1 in the chat if you are a streamer, and put a 2 if you're a mod. If you're a viewer, put a 3, and just add each other. I think that would be the easiest.
Yeah,
um,
everyone follow everyone, and I think it's something that I think DJ Ray Domingo sort of coined, and it's very true. I mean, the only annoying thing on Twitch is there seems to be this 2,000 follower limit, which I don't
Yeah, I think
understand
I'm
really
at
why.
my follower limit, and I never do the follow, like, people were so crazy on that in the beginning, which is fine. I never
Yeah.
really did that, so I was kinda quite shocked that I got up to 2,000 already, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to delete, like, people that aren't streaming, right, to."
Well,
But
and
I
there's
feel
also people who were streaming who are not. So
yeah,
obviously, I'm assuming it's the same for you. If you've done so many shows, that the people who are tuning in live and watching your stuff now is not the same people who were when you first started
yeah,
streaming on
exactly.
Twitch.
I just can't be bothered going through 2,000
I know,
people.
I know.
A lot,
I think
but
what Dawn
the
Perignon did was she literally
Mhm.
just deleted everyone and then just
Oh,
started
wow.
again,
Oh,
adding
really?
people in, because it
Oh,
would
wow.
just be quicker to do that than actually literally go through each one. It's like your friend list on Facebook. You're just like, can I really be bothered to
Yeah,
sort of
I
go
think it took
through?
me a week to go through my friends list. Sorry to the over the 300, 400 people I deleted. Sorry. Blessings to you.
It's
I
it's it's
nearly
Twitch's
deleted
fault. It's not
400
your fault.
people. But, I also find with these apps, although Twitch is such an amazing community and we all connect, good on here, I feel like there's zero visibility. So for example, the algorithms, even with flyers, when we do flyers like on Instagram, Facebook, it only goes to 2% of your friends list. It doesn't
Yeah.
go to everyone. So you're pretty much invisible. You're doing all this work and all this effort. And I just had the other day, they're like, we never see your stuff. We never see your flyers. So it really is about building a community, I guess, amongst each other, like so many DJs are in WhatsApp groups and all together, because Twitch doesn't give any visibility for DJs. It's not like TikTok.
Not yet. Obviously, we've got the announcement, and I think it comes in. I think
Hmm.
it might be this month or next month. The DJ category. So it's interesting to see that they've finally been able to do some sort of deal that allows them to say, right, we're going to have a DJ category. You're going to be able to legitimately stream all this music. Um, and supposedly then there'll be DJs on the front page of Twitch and things like that. So I don't know. It may be just the start, and maybe the reason we haven't had much visibility on Twitch is because of sort of being under the radar, especially with DJing.
I think they
Um,
haven't quite figured out though the algorithms on Twitch, because Twitch is
no,
not really an app like, hey, it's not like a TikTok app. Like even though they're trying to make it a little bit more like that with the reels, how you're scrolling live now, like the stuff that Instagram kind of copied from TikTok. But
yeah,
I do feel like TikTok is brilliant in the way, even like I remember doing one show and it went to like 5,000 people. Like it's
wow,
literally a lottery draw. It has nothing to do with popularity, how great your content is, how great your shows are. It really, because there's people that have great shows, but they never really, get noticed out there, right? So you see people sitting on their bed doing a talk show and they have like 50,000 people, right?
it's
So
yeah,
I
you
think
just
it's a
don't know, do you?
lottery pick in how, like, when my friend started TikTok, within 3 weeks, boom, she was at 7,000 people, right? Um, I've been doing this, I think, full time for like 3 years now, 3.5 years, which is a bit insane, and it's like a bit of a grind, to keep
Yeah,
keep going, but with her, within 3 weeks, boom, just sharing
I
her
think
crazy stories, you
there's
know?
so many platforms as well, isn't it? I think
Yes. Yeah.
it's difficult, and I think you just need to sort of try and focus on the ones that are bringing you followers or bringing you new contacts or are
Mhm.
making you happy. They're the ones.
Yeah.
It's difficult because there's billions. All the
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, there
I mean, for
is.
me at
There
the moment, my main focus is Twitch, and
Mhm.
then Instagram, and then sort of chopping down stuff that I'm doing from talk shows into sort of reels, to then later put all that together
Mhm.
as shows. And I think it's about repurposing content as well.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta, because it's too hard to do so many apps. You gotta pick with maybe 1 or 2 and stick to it and
And you've
work
got to
on
be on
those.
them as well. I mean, I've
Exactly.
got TikTok for 45 days, but I don't really do much on there. I just sort of post
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
go because I'm not really doing it. So I don't think
Kinda how I am too with flyers and
I
everything.
need to spend a lot more time, I think, on the platform, which makes sense. You've got to spend
Yeah,
time on a platform to
it's
sort of
true.
build anything because you've got to
Don't
go
you
and connect.
feel like social media is like a full-time job? Like graphics, flyers, software,
Yeah.
hardware,
I mean,
lighting.
are you doing all this yourself as well? Are you doing all the
Yeah,
graphics and yeah, because it's the
yeah,
same
I
as
do
me.
it all myself. Yeah, yeah. It's a
Control
lot of
freak.
work. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I'm slowly letting things loose and saying, right, okay, you go and do that. So I had some stuff because we hit 5 years of 45 day. And
Wow.
other than getting the original logo made by my good friend Hammy, who I literally saw a few days ago, he's over from Santa Monica for our other friend's wedding. But I'd basically been doing everything else myself. So learning graphic
Mhm.
design, but then
Yeah,
I
it's a
got some
lot.
stuff done. I got some stuff done for the fifth birthday, which yeah, it was great. And then I've got
Yeah.
reinterpretations of what I'm doing, which is fantastic.
But aren't you proud that we've learned so much more? It's not
Yes.
even just DJing. We've learned how to pretty much produce TV shows. Like,
Yeah, we're broadcasters.
yeah, like when you think about it, I feel like we all got a head start during the pandemic to learn all this stuff. Like it took me at least a year to learn OBS. Like that was a very tough one for me because I'm
Yeah,
not a
OBS
techie
is
person.
amazing.
Yeah,
You know.
just everything about Twitch. It wasn't super easy in the beginning, right? So,
No, but I think it was people were willing to help, and this has been the
mhm.
most amazing thing from Twitch is, we all had to start somewhere. We all started at zero, and we all had to get a camera, and we all had to get an audio card, and we all had to get a computer that had enough RAM to sort of be able to stream and all this sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But it's been amazing that, I was lucky enough to have a couple of, had most of this stuff already. So I was able to just get going and then sort of trial and error working out. But it was brilliant to be able to pass that on to people and say, this is how you do it. But it's a lot of tech,
It's
you
a
know,
lot of techie stuff. People
it's
are
a lot
just
of
like,
stuff. And
"Oh."
we were doing stuff before, like when I first started doing Twitch, I was running another channel, 45 Kings, and we were doing shows on the one channel. So we were having to send out stream keys, and then as soon as one DJ finished, we had to make sure the next DJ was ready to start. Not raid trained, so very different. Um, but it's been interesting how much we've learned. I feel that I've learned obviously lots of different things because I do visuals, which is going back to when I first started DJing. I used to do visuals as well, so I'm now incorporating a lot of visuals, and OBS is brilliant for that. But even on a base level, you've got to be
Mhm.
able to run OBS. I think if you're going to do and
Exactly, yeah.
overlays and logos and emotes, there's a
I
lot.
still
And we're
haven't
all
figured
of a certain
I gotta
age as
learn how
well.
to
That's
use
the other thing.
overlays. Exactly, I know, right? Like, I still think I'm in my 20s.
Yes, we're
We're just
not.
gonna lie right
I'm
now and
not. I'm
say
certainly not in my
30s.
20s.
Yeah, but then when you go out and DJ, you're like, "Ooh, my back. Ooh, my ankles are cracking," like, you pick up these chords, or I don't know if I could do a 10-hour day like I used to. Like, I feel like you have to be in relatively good shape,
Yeah, I
for
mean, it's the
DJ.
late nights as well,
Yeah, it's the late
which
nights, it's
is
eating, drinking, probably not
yeah,
drinking
yeah,
very good, drinking enough water, because you don't wanna be, like, running to the washroom when you have, like, 500 people in front of you, so then as a
yeah.
DJ, you're not drinking, you're not eating right, What would you say to DJs just to keep up with their health too? Because this industry, you're running on pure adrenaline, it's like boom, 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 like, you're going to please a crowd, you're trying to please everyone in the building, but then that could also affect you,
Oh,
physically and
definitely.
mentally. Yeah.
I think it does affect everyone, and I think I've spoken to so many DJs who have gone through like alcohol issues, who've gone through drug issues, or gone through alcohol and drug issues, because there is this, certainly from a younger age, that you've got to keep up with everyone, and you've got to stay out at every party and do this. So I think, you know, if someone's trying to be healthy, it's obviously trying to cut out as much as possible those things, the alcohol and the drugs.
Mhm.
Some people need a drink to be able to DJ. There's that anxiety. We talk about it a lot in terms of we're extroverted introverts. That everyone
Mhm.
thinks you're the life of the party because you're a
For
DJ,
sure.
and you are when you're behind the decks, but then the rest of the time you're not. So yeah, it's a tough lifestyle, but it's just trying to, I'm guilty as anyone else, trying to stay healthy. I don't drink as much as I used to drink. I'm trying to eat a bit healthier. I'm always sort of on Twitch, so I'm always standing up, so I'm always sort of moving, and it's not exercise, but it's something that's keeping me
Exactly.
agile, and it's keeping your brain agile as well, because that's the next problem that's going to come. And the fact that we are having to learn all these things and learn all this tech, I think, is keeping us young in our heads. So hopefully it's keeping us sort of physically young as well. But um and I think we're also at that age, certainly I am, that I'm not chasing gigs. I'm not sort of
Mhm.
looking to sort of chase gigs at the time. It's a different, if I'm going to go out and DJ, it has to be something I really want to do, like a record shop, or it has to be like something I've organized, or something my mates organized, or watching DJs that I want to DJ. So um yeah, just if I'm giving advice to anyone, just sort of take it easy.
Yeah, it's
It's
so
a
true.
marathon, not a sprint. you know
Yeah, it's definitely so true. Fukna. Thank you so much, Fukna, for the sub. Appreciate you to Mimi Berry. And of course, DJ TC Entertainment earlier using your Prime, and Strud Muffin being my first supporter on my show, my day one. Appreciate you, Struds. And he gave us flowers. Well, I kind of asked for it, but like he literally gave, like a few people some flowers. I still have them in my living room. So,
Amazing.
they always I that was
Amazing.
Sweet, very nice. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh yeah, Fukin is like staying healthy as a DJ. So treadmill behind the deck streams. You know, it's crazy too. As a DJ over the years, I've never drank, I've never smoked, I've never uh, done too much of a lot of stuff you see in entertainment, right? But I still feel like it's taken a toll on me when you're doing 10-hour days, and you still have, even if you're not doing any of those things like eating properly, drinking, mentally realizing that you don't need to be a perfectionist, because I think we all are. And one thing I realized too is, a lot of DJs on Twitch are very introverted, but like you said,
Yeah,
you would think they're the life of the party. But when you think about it, guys, it's like a huge high in entertainment. So when you're on a stage, when you're performing in front of, it could be a few hundred people to 100,000 people, and you're constantly pumping out that energy, whether you're hosting or DJing. You go from this very high, like this very high
yeah,
adrenaline, like your endorphins, like your brain, everything's going crazy because you're like pumping out the energy so much to people. And then all of a sudden you get in your car, or you're the last one, say at a wedding, and the lights are off and you're packing up your cords alone and you're going in a car, and your energy is just like roof, like it's hard to like gradually bring it down.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think a
yeah,
lot of people probably go to a lot of different things in entertainment to help them cope, because when your energy is this high, you can't just like go to sleep at 4 in the morning when you're driving home. Like, you need to find something to kind of bring it down. Have you had that, ever have that happen to you, where you're at an event or at a gig and your adrenaline's like this high, and you feel like you dropped to like a complete low in a
oh,
weird way?
definitely, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think it's the same. Because especially if you're doing like a gig at a festival or any gig, I think we're all naturally, you've got it in your head what it's going to be like. So there's
Mhm.
always the pre-preparation, and there's always the, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to be great, this is,
Yeah.
and that's your brain getting ready for the experiences you're going to have. Then you have those experiences, hopefully, but then your brain just does switch off, doesn't it? And you're just like, it does just stop. And I think the worst times it happens is when you're doing an event, and like you say, it's the end of the night, you've got to pack
Mhm.
down, you've got to pack, and like you were saying, all the equipment that you've got to take down. So you've got to keep your energy up to sort of pack all this equipment down, get it in the back of your car, get all your records in, and then, like you say, drive back from whatever it is. So yeah, it's really tough, because it does just drop. And then I think
Mhm.
I always get this because it's a strange one. So you're constantly then on the way back, because I think your energy level's gone. You become quite vulnerable, and you're thinking, was it a good gig? Did I do the right
Mhm.
thing? Did I perform? Should I have been better? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? So there's that time that, if you were just sleeping, you wouldn't be thinking that. So I find that happens to me quite a lot. I'm thinking, was it all right? You know, was it
Yeah, for
okay?
sure.
And it'll be the
Yeah.
same after this. There's a whole adrenaline rush on sort of, looking forward to being interviewed, talking to you, actually being interviewed. And then afterwards, I'm going to be like, I'm suddenly going to go like this. And it's going to be like, oh, was that
Hmm.
okay? Was it all
Mhm.
right? Should I have said something differently? Did I say the wrong thing?
No, it's a great interview so far. I'm enjoying
It's
it.
yeah. So you do get that, and to be honest, I've noticed it a little bit now that Zizi's going out and doing events. I've noticed it a bit with her, because um, when we did the Panama one, I'd gone and sort of helped set up, and we did the sort of first hour. I think she was on like 2 o'clock or something in the afternoon, and she came in and she was being like all cool. I was like, "You all right?" She's like, "Yeah." Like being a little rock star sort of thing.
Mhm.
And then sat down. I'm like, "You can have some food." "No, I don't want any food." Right. So I had to feed her, and then she did a brilliant set, and her friend Mia was there as well. But as soon as that was finished, I could see in her the energy levels just died.
Aw.
You know, because I
Wow.
thought I thought she might hang around and sort of watch the break dancers, but I think it was just quite a lot to take in, and we take this a little bit for granted as adults.
Mhm.
Um, you know, these sort of things that we're doing is crazy. But to a 10-year-old. But I really noticed it. So it's something I'm just really conscious of at any event going forwards now. And I try really hard when we're doing any events with the 45 kids to make sure they're the right events. So they're not just in like some bar or whatever. It's got to be the right event. But yeah, I have noticed that with her. And it's a strange thing, but it's the ups and downs of being an artist. You know,
Yeah, that's so
it's not just
true.
DJs, is it? It's artists, it's
Oh,
dance.
yeah,
My
celebrities.
wife's a dance teacher. You know,
Yep.
um, it's anyone who's creative to get and be productive and produce something of value. You have to have these sort of ups and downs.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I was wondering, I was feeling that more with weddings, but I understand where the high and the low drops were for me, based on my story or my background. Like I could understand why I started going from this like high and then it just plummeted, But I never really had that as a DJ until I kind of later on until I started doing weddings. And then
Yeah,
you're listening to slow jams in the car and you're spending like 2 hours driving home. Like it's just like, oh, how do I bring this down? Because my adrenaline's like still up here. And you're right. You're overthinking the night. You're thinking maybe about the mistakes or thinking, even though if no one else sees them, no one else
yeah,
could see the mistakes.
exactly.
They all loved it. But your brain is constantly like thinking. I wonder how it is with kids too. Like I have there's another DJ Kool-Aid Jim. His son is incredible doing big things on big stages. He's only 7 years old. I think he's 6 or 7 when he started when he was about 5. And I always
Amazing.
ask, like, how does he handle the pressure? Because you never know if a kid's going to have a meltdown or say, "Hey, I don't want to do this." And now you're in front of like a football arena, and that's what his kid is doing now, right in South
It's
Carolina.
insane.
Yeah. So but it seemed like when I tried interviewing his son, like he wasn't nervous. Like he seemed to be okay handling the pressure a lot more. And I wonder if kids interpret it differently because, like, I feel like they have less fear than we do. If they make a mistake, whatever, they make a mistake. Like, how do you feel with that? Like, as adults, we kind of like over critique and maybe kind of worry, but I feel like kids are just kids. They're just like, whatever. They're more daring. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. But then I don't know how they handle with social media too, like the pressures, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on, isn't there? I think, I guess for that DJ, I need to get a link and check him out. But
Yes. Yeah.
I guess if that's what he's doing and that's how his life is going and that's how that to him, that's just like, yeah, that's life. This is what my life is. You know, going to these big
Mhm.
amazing venues. Um, but yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure, and again, I think they see it on social media, and I
Yes.
think when you're seeing it constantly, for example, I assume he's looking at other DJs, and we all as DJs watch other DJs. We do it all the time on Twitch, we do it all the time
Mhm.
on Instagram and socials. If you're seeing people playing in those sort of big arenas, and then
Mhm.
here you are as a DJ also playing in these big arenas, then I guess it doesn't phase you. I mean, it may come that later it will. Maybe he's still too young. Maybe when the teenage years sort of kick in, things will be a bit
Yeah,
harder.
maybe the
But
teenagers, because they I think they process, especially with bullying and different things on social media, like, I feel like we have kind of the adult brain, even though the world of comparison and social media can
yeah,
be tough. Like, we have an adult brain to kind of either accept or reject whatever we're seeing, but a kid, I feel like it's much harder. Can you believe we're the last generation, like, that is ever gonna know what it was like before social media? Like, we are the last generation
yeah,
that has
it's
experienced this. No one else will experience what we experience, guys. Isn't that crazy?
I
Bright
think
eyes. Yeah.
we've lived in some amazing.
Mhm.
I'm glad I was born when I was born. I was born sort of in the middle of the 70s.
Yeah.
So it meant that my early years were in the 70s. Then we had the 80s and the 90s and the noughties and the tens and the
Mhm.
20. Um, and we've gone right through from a phone being literally pick up a phone and sort of it ring and you're having to sort of dial stuff like a bit like one of these old phones up here,
Yes.
to what we've got now, and that's in our lifetime. We can remember that. But it's going to be funny, isn't it, in like 20, 30 years time, when you'll be saying to your kids and your grandkids, oh, there was no social media in my time, there was no internet in my time, and all this
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
it's
So
crazy to think, like,
it's bonkers, and I'm so pleased that we're at the age that we are able to know all of this.
that we saw it. Yeah. I was gonna
Sama Mata
say
says, "Oh my god, he's reminded me. I think you were talking about TV shows on your last stream.
yes. Yeah.
So Airwolf. I don't know. Did you know Airwolf?
Oh, I vaguely remember. I'm
Yeah,
not
that was a
sure
great,
actually. I gotta check
that was a
that
great
out.
TV show. Helicopter, I think, wasn't it? It's, I
What
think
were
it's a
some
great
yeah,
film.
what were some, things that reminded you of your childhood that you thought were pretty awesome, guys? Drop it in the chat. I'm curious. I came across a pager that I had,
I've
since I
got a
thought I
I
was
found a
so bad
pager, yeah.
back in the day. I still have my pager, so,
Pages
um,
were ridiculous that you could just call that number and wherever you were, it would go off and it
I
just said,
know.
"Please call." I mean, that's some pretty cool
Now it's
technology.
like the WhatsApp when you think about it. Like our phones are now WhatsApp. That's how we send
Yeah.
messages. We don't even call each other anymore, you know? It's crazy. Bright Eye Sunflower.
I do though. I think it's
Oh, you
important
do?
to try and
Yeah,
speak,
I
not all the time, but um I because I when I'm talking to people, I sort of talk like lots of ideas, and then I like to see their sort of feedback and see what they want to do. So I will call them, but I will call them on WhatsApp
oh,
because the reception is
okay.
terrible here for the mobile reception.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not all the time. It's like maybe a few times a week, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I like phone calls still. I'm old school, you
Yeah,
know?
but that's
Um,
because of our age and because of what we've gone through, and we remember what phone calls are. Using your parents' phone to speak to whoever it was, your friends or your girlfriend or whatever it was, and hoping someone hadn't picked up the phone downstairs and listening in.
oh,
So
yeah,
that
my
sort of
mom
stuff.
always did, man. You know that corded phone, you guys?
Yeah.
And then after an hour conversation, you try to do the hang up button, but then you knew that my mom listened. My mom knew every party I was at. She was like a serial stalker. Like that's why I couldn't get in trouble. That's why people on Twitch think I'm a goody two shoes, guys. It's not my problem. Blame it on my mom. Like, but my mom
But
did
again, a different world, isn't it?
yeah, but my mom did everything in the book, so I feel like it's very unfair that she was so strict on me. Um, Bright Eye Sunflower, I like her comment. She said, "Children look at it as fun, while adults look at it as work." That's interesting. And she also says, "Children don't interpret things as we do as adults." Wow, so true. Mimi Berry, what did she say here? She said, "Teens are probably less self-conscious." I'm not sure. I think with the world of social media, it makes it, going back to your daughter, like, how did she feel she did when she was in Panama? Like, did she feel like she did great, or like, what was her
Yeah, I
response to
think
it?
so. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because she's done a few live gigs and she's done like a festival as well, a couple of times. But she's also done live streaming, which is something that back in the day we wouldn't have had. And it's been interesting that she has a good time and I think she enjoys the live events, but I think she enjoys the live streaming more,
Oh, she
which is
does. She
which is
enjoys
an
it
interesting one.
more.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's because she can see the chat and she's quite reactive. And we did a
Hmm.
again, if anyone wants to go onto my Instagram, there's a little video that we did. We did a collaboration with the Global Funk Fam, the 45 Kids, and it's a parent and kids stream, and we're just DJing
Hmm.
together. And she just likes reacting to what people are saying in the chat or making
Nice.
comments about the song that she's playing or whatever. And I think because she's seen me do that, I think that's what she enjoys more than literally going in and sort of DJing in front of people. Now, I think that will come later. I think once she sees the power of music and sees people sort of dancing and really getting into it, I think she'll be more into that. But I think at the moment she quite likes the community element, I think, of
So she
Twitch.
doesn't feel like she's playing for a bunch of old people because she's 10 years old. We're all ancients. Like
It's like
my
family
age
though.
is your number right there.
Yeah.
One 25. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it's like she probably thinks, man, I'm playing with like a bunch of parents and like old people. Where are all the people my age? Or
I
does she
think
not mind? She likes the music and enjoys it.
yeah, but I think of because what we've managed to do. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming other communities have done similar things, but I
Mhm.
haven't found it yet. I think because we've always included and been very inclusive. So we've got men, we've got the women DJs, we've got like husband
Mhm.
and wives who
I love
DJ.
that.
Like we've
Yeah.
got Fat Wax 45 and Tea Cake. We've got Cut Class and Constance K. You know, and also because we've done the 45 kids thing, we've been doing that for 3 or 4 years. She's seeing. It's like having a family. She's
Yeah.
seeing the
I
parent
love that. Yeah.
and the kid DJing and that. So I think if it was just like a random, just playing to a load of old people. But I think because she knows all these people, And because of the way Twitch works, and because they're all streamers and she sees them, it
Mhm.
is like family. It's like our extended family, isn't it? She's like, whenever any of the DJs come on, the kid DJs, they might come on in the background for a sec. I'm always like, oh, come and check out. Liam, for example, Sideshow Mall's kid.
Mhm.
He does this brilliant thing where he sort of runs up and he switched the power off during his raid train, and the raid just ended. But it's hilarious seeing the family, and I think because of that, that's I think why she likes Twitch.
Oh, I love that. And
And
it's interesting what kids like too, like about you, like even DJ Kool-Aid's son, only 7 years old,
yeah,
He like, said a few sweet things about me. I was like, "Oh, that like watching my show, right?" And I'm like, "He's only 7 years old." Like it's just it's awesome. I think it's pretty cool when you could bring families together. I'm going to link you to him because if you guys do the
yeah,
45 Kids project, I think you will love this kid. He is very talented, like
yeah.
scratching and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
Amazing.
so I'll
I'm
link
gonna
you to.
mention before I forget him, but yeah, link me up. So DJ Arlo is one of the oldest of the 45 kids,
Mhm.
and he's based in France. They used to live in Brighton, and but he's 14 years old. He's doing amazing, like beat juggling, playing 45s,
Oh,
doing
wow.
scratching, also producing. He's done like these Lego stop motion videos for
Oh, cool.
Slick Rick
Oh,
children's story,
wow.
um,
Jeez.
and like a little edit. I mean, that stuff takes forever, and he's only 14, but he's definitely one of the DJs that we do. And you're talking about, is it weird kids playing for like older people? But Shoestring Sound,
Mhm.
I can't remember exactly what he is. 53. I hope I might be wrong. 53. And then Arlo was 14, but their birthdays were really close together. They did a joint raid train to celebrate
Aw.
their birthdays. And
Oh,
I
I
kept
love
saying at the
that.
end, I was like, in what other sort of community or what other universe would you have like a 14-year-old and a 50-plus-year-old um,
Oh, I
celebrating their
love that. That's so
parties
awesome.
at the same time,
Tell
playing,
us your age, Shoestring. Tell
playing
us your
music?
age. Everyone Google him. Google Shoestring right now. We're gonna get the 411 on him. He's, like, telling you to shh, I think about his
Yeah,
age.
it sounds like
Um
I'm right. It sounds like I was right. Anyway, but it's just crazy, and it's been brilliant. I think that
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
we've created this sort of online place. We call it a safe space, and I'm sure it's the same. With your channel and your community as well. It's somewhere that people can come when they know you're live, and it's your tribe. We call it. You found your tribe, and you found people that you like, and it's people you want to spend time with. I
Mhm.
mean, I think we haven't touched on mental health yet, but one of the things I think we probably are all having to come to terms with is that we're all getting older.
Mhm.
We've all got older parents. We're seeing our parents, or some of us have lost our parents. Or we're seeing our parents getting very old, and we're like, that's going to be me soon.
Mhm.
Um, so then you start to think, time is really precious. So if I'm going to spend time with people, um, it needs to be the right people. And I think that's what we're all doing. We're building our own little channel somewhere that we can go from a mental health point of view to sort of be safe or feel safe for a couple of hours or whatever it is, but also that other people can come and be there in a safe space.
Yeah, that is so very, very true, especially during the pandemic and everything that's happened as well. So I know, you empower 6 to 14-year-olds on Twitch, as we talked about, and live events that you do. One thing that we can definitely touch on now for sure is you raising funds for mental health charities, which is called CALM. And I love
Yeah.
this name, you guys. CALM stands for Campaign Against Living Miserably, just aiding children with health difficulties to communicate through music. I think that's really beautiful as well. What made you decide to do this as well? And why is it important to talk about mental health for you?
Okay. There's two parts to that, because the helping children through money is Jesse's fund, which is a UK music therapy charity, which is what the 45 kids
Hmm.
and some of
Do
our
yeah.
live events raise money towards. And that was just a charity we found because we wanted to have some sort of music charity that was to do with kids. And it becomes a little bit meta, because it's like children playing music or children playing 45s to raise money to help other children who can't communicate other than through music. And then there's this beautiful video. So it's just important, and it's giving something back. And the reason I did that one was I was already doing and raising money for mental health charities. We had a thing called Sunday Sevens, which was monthly, where we all played sevens and we raised money for a few different charities. So Calm Campaign Against Living Miserably. There was Movember. There was Chris's House up in Glasgow. And then there was another one. And it became really important when Double P, who's in the chat, came to me and he sent me a message, and we've talked about the 45 kids. One of our 45 kids is Minimal P, his son. And he just sent me a message and said, right, this is what my son said. He said, thank you so much to me and Fatwax45 for helping my dad get into streaming. It's helped his depression, and he's like a really different person now. Thank you so much.
Wow.
And that really hit me, because at that point, I haven't met Double P at this point. We've just chatted online. And I think that's when the power, firstly, of music and the power of what we were doing became apparent to me, but also the fact that he trusted me enough to say that he, firstly, was going through depression, and that his son knew about it as well, and that he'd shared it with his son. And I thought that was incredible, that he was sharing the issues he was going through with his son, and his son was bright enough and open enough to accept that, yeah, this is part of life. You are going to get depressed. So then I was like, right, do you want to talk about it on a show? I've been watching Wednesdays on Wax, which is a show that Dusty Donuts did, and they interviewed DJs. And he said, yeah. And I was like, okay, who else can we get on? And he said, my friend, Mr. Musto. And then we just started talking, and he said that a whole horrendous list of things happened to him in a short period of time that really affected him. And he even said at one point, he was very close to, thinking about taking his own life. And so I was just like, this is really important. We've got to talk about it. This is a man, someone who's a bit older than me, opening up, who's gone through these issues. And, we need to help each other. If nothing else, there needs to be someone else he can talk to. So it was incredible to see, firstly, the response, but also, you mentioned it, men of a certain age opening up and talking about the issues that they're going through. And from them, I think it was just a no-brainer. I was just like, right, okay, who else might be interested in talking about this stuff? And then you just reach out to people. People are like, yeah, actually, I'll talk about you. You mentioned Inch High earlier on. She was a guest on the show. She came on and talked about some of the stuff that she was going through. And I think it's just been really important, and especially when it happened, because I look back and I think it was March 2021, 1st of March, that we did the very first show. So it's just over 2 and a bit years. That was sort of about the second lockdown. And I think it just then, we were starting to realize that we've all gone through quite a traumatic thing. It's strange now. I mean, people get COVID now, and it's just like, oh no, I've got COVID. I'm off work for a few days. But back then it was like, if I get COVID, I could die. If I get COVID, I could pass it on to my parents. I could, inadvertently kill them, or I could kill my friends or whatever. So it was a lot of pressure and a lot of stress that we were all under. And I think there needed to be an outlet. And because we'd built this community of DJs, it only sort of seemed fit to take it in that direction, because it had helped me, my mental health, being able to reach out and talk to people when stuff was going on in my life. That it was just right. Let's again create this safe place where people can talk about this stuff openly. I think it's just so important. We have to do it.
So true. I mean, especially during the pandemic, it said that we will take 10 years to recover from what happened to all of us globally, right? I know Canada had the harshest lockdowns in the world. It was insane here. Like 1.5 million people have left this great country that like I once knew, and a lot has changed since the pandemic, for sure. And then hearing the amount of deaths that's constant. You're constantly hearing that every single day on the news, every single day
Yep.
on social media, right? Like just death, 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 like everywhere, right? So I think Twitch was definitely a saving grace. I don't know if you've had stories. I know I've had stories of doctors in the ER or nurses listening to lovers rock music, thinking, "Oh, I'm only going to play this for myself tonight." I don't have too many viewers, but a few of them have said, "Hey, Honey Flow, you got me through tonight. Tonight was a really rough night, 12 hours like in the ER in the ICU unit." So you never know who you're touching and how what you're doing. Like I know some people may look at us as streamers or DJs and be like, "Oh, that's all you do." I know I get that a lot, but they
Right.
don't realize the impact of our shows and the people that have passed away on our shows and who you had conversations with or even private conversations, right? So kudos to you for doing this. I think it's really commendable and really 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 needed, especially amongst men too, like just having more men. Because is it, like I always hear, it's difficult because there's not really a lot of outlets for you guys too, like for men to talk about things too.
I think the problem has always been where, because of our age again, I don't think we're quite the age where we can't deal with it, because I think a lot of us have got to the stage where we now can talk about our issues. I think we come from an age where you were supposed to be the strong man. You know,
Mhm.
I know, like when my wife had, we had difficulties in terms of um, keeping pregnancies, or my wife did. And our daughter Zizi was an IVF baby, on sort of like the seventh time. So uh, we went through quite a lot, and I remember through all of that, I couldn't really talk about what I was going through because I was trying to be the strong person to try and keep not keep my wife together, but I had to be strong to make sure that she didn't completely collapse with what she was going through.
Mhm.
um and there wasn't this outlet then. I didn't know that I could do this. Perhaps if there had been Twitch back then, we're talking about sort of 10 years ago, but had there been Twitch back then it might have been great. So I think it's just important to allow people this outlet, and
Mhm.
people who might not otherwise talk about it. A lot of people who come on the shows, I don't know if you get this, it's like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough to talk about and all the rest of it. And then you get them talking, and then obviously they don't stop talking, because it's brilliant. But yeah, it's making this community and showing people and being role models that you can talk about your problems. And it's been great for me because of teaching Zizi, and telling her, these are the shows I do. The reason we did a charity for the 45 kids is because we were doing a charity stuff for the adults for some of the streams. Like Double P did a mental health raid train
Nice.
that we decided to do. ADP does mental health raid trains as well, and Campaign Against Living Miserably. We talked earlier about my hometown, and obviously there being a lot of suicides, but it's trying to have someone that people can call so that they can hopefully avoid taking their own lives. And I think that is the most important thing, because if you can help or be there or be the contact that someone makes before they decide to do that, you might be able to step in and possibly stop something happening. Because I think, again, a lot of us of this age, we know people who have taken their own life. One of my good friends did. And
Mhm.
again, you don't see it coming.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
you know
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's you just don't see it coming, and you haven't seen them for a little while, and then you hear they've done this, and you're just like, what? um which is why you need to reach out to people,
So
um
true.
and,
But
and
maybe it's not just those people reaching out to people. I think it's our obligation to reach out to others, right? It's kind of like if someone's going through grief and loss too. It's like,
yeah.
you wouldn't really say to someone that's like sinking in quicksand. And I know we do this all the time, like, hey, reach out. Oh, hey, if you need anything. And I do the same thing. I'm just like, hey, if you need anything, give me a call. But the chances of that happening are very, very unlikely. And I think it's, yeah, it's definitely important, especially in this time and age. I don't know if you guys have maid and all these programs out there in the UK, but they're making assisted suicide very, very, very easy in Canada, where you could just walk in and say,
Really?
"Hey, I
Okay.
wanna end it," and then when you actually research made, guys, it is insane, like, what they do to people. We actually had, like, someone I didn't know, but it was a friend that it was, like, a friend's sister's boyfriend, and he had cancer, and it was just too much for him, so he ended his life with MAID, which is assisted suicide. But when you actually start researching what MAID involves, it's, like, literally suffocating the person before they die. So it's not like, I'm gonna put you under something and let you go to sleep, like how it looks like it's peaceful. You're literally, like, kind of how it was explained, like drowning in your own body, like how you would underwater. And so that was shocking to me. That was something I learned
Wow.
recently. So what
That's
I'm saying is all these commercials and all these things, I feel like are and I know people are gonna have different views on this, but I'm gonna keep my view and hold very strong on this. I think it's I feel like it's completely wrong. I feel like you're assisting so many people in commercials to just end their life. It's kinda like, you know, almost like not being forced, but there's so many things happening that we don't know that we have to stand. Like, right now in this day and age, we have to stand on convictions, whether it's popular or not, and we have to stand for injustices and things that
yeah.
so to make it so easy for Canadians, you don't guys don't even know the half of the people that have committed suicide, here in Canada is insane. People jumping in front of GO trains, subways, off buildings, like, it's because of the pressures of life, right? Like finances and inflation and just Toronto's ranked, the number 1 city. I don't know if it's in the world, but I know it's in North America for the highest cost, so people are sinking, right? So I think it's up
Yeah.
to us to stand for things that they're making so freely to accept and be and these commercials are so sickening to me. It's just like, "Oh, go into the light and you're gonna see butterflies and rainbows." Like, they're making it seem like it's very tempting to wanna do that, even if you don't wanna do that. So I think teaching people that are suicidal that there is hope, like, even if you're going through depression or anxiety or you just don't see another day, like, there is hope. There still is hope for another day. So that's why I think it's really important to share our stories because the people in this chat room, the people you're sitting beside are are probably going through some stories or went through it themselves, right? It's more common to have these thoughts or feelings or when we go through hard times, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I didn't know about that at all. So that's taken me completely by surprise. But
Yeah.
that sounds a terrible situation. We
Yeah, it's
don't really
crazy.
have anything like that at all here in the UK. What we have is in Switzerland. There's Dignitas where people can go and have assisted suicide, but that takes the form of like some tablets and some liquid and literally falling asleep. And um, I don't know if you know the author Terry Pratchett, who's sadly passed, my wife's favorite author, but he went and they filmed this happening
Mhm.
and this person, and I guess that person was very unwell, but had decided that was the end of their life. But it's not advertised in the same way as what
Oh,
you're
yeah, it's
describing over
totally
there. That sounds
advertising. It's
terrible.
almost, like, tempting, like, it's like, even if you're having a bad day, like,
Yeah,
when you're looking at these, they're making it seem like it's almost amazing, like, "Go into the light, like, things will be better for you, like, things will" and it's such a crazy deception that we're fighting a lot more than that I believe that's just more physical, like, so that's why it's important to talk about these things and stand up for, and for people that are hurting, like, I think we've all been there with any stories that we've experienced, right? Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot about this.
no,
I
it's fine.
didn't think I'd,
It's interesting to hear.
be
I
and
mean,
now I'm getting passionate about this stuff
keep
because it
going, keep going.
yeah, it really, it upsets me what I see, like, the government and what this country, like, was how it is now. It really makes me upset because this is not the country that I knew growing up, and I think that's why a lot of people are leaving with a lot of different things. But anyways, that's a different situation, but I applaud you for speaking up and talking about, and having this passion. We all have things that we could do in this lifetime. That's why we're here. It's not just music and following and trying to be all grand, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that, but like what I'm saying is we all have a mission. So I love that your mission is mental health, and you touch people through music as well.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we've all got a platform. We've all got a small platform, and I think it's something that I've always tried to use to achieve something. So, you know, if it wasn't for Double P coming to me and saying, I'm happy to talk about this, that might not have gone in that direction. We still would have probably raised money for mental health charities, but I think it quickly became apparent that Twitch for us, or certainly for me, wasn't just about the DJing. The DJing is
Mhm.
great, it's brilliant, and there's so many great DJs out there, and you're constantly watching them. But I think for me, as soon as I realized that this is a broadcast channel, and we were talking earlier on about how much it takes to do, we are broadcasting. So if we're going to broadcast, and we're broadcasting music and talk, because that's what most streamers do now, they're
Mhm.
talking over their DJ mixes and whatever. um why not let's focus on talking as well? And I think
Mhm.
if we're going to be talking about records, if we're going to be talking about the weather, why not talk about mental health?
Yeah, for
Because it's
sure.
it's really important. Like we said already, we don't know who's listening, but I can guarantee that someone who has watched this, one person, will have taken something away from this show. And
Mhm.
it's, if you're able to touch someone, inspire someone, or make someone think slightly differently about their lives or about what they're going through, or say, oh, I've been through that, or oh, he managed to get through what he was going through, maybe I can. That's, it's worth doing. It's worth all
Yeah,
the hours and the toil and the hard work and the preparation and all the rest of it. It's worth doing because it's helped one other person, one other human that's here.
definitely. And if it's just for the if it's just for the one person, I'm always reminded of that now. That's all that really matters, right? Like it may not be for the 100 people or whoever comes to your chat, but it could be for the one person that's tuning in. So yeah, I definitely agree with that, especially with the amount of people we've lost like on our shows. I think it's been about 7 or 8 for me since I started 3.5 years ago. My first interview, people have passed, my moderator, and people that have come through my chat. So
Terrible, yeah.
I never take that for granted. Like you guys, the people you see at the parties, you think are the most healthy. You don't know who's in the chat room that could be in a hospital room listening, right? Because they're throwing up
Yeah.
party emotes. You think they're the ones that are always at the party on Twitch. So that surprised me the most, especially with my moderator, because she was a very hardworking, along with all my mods in my chat right now, right? But like you would never know how sick she actually really was, right? So yeah, I think we just have to be mindful and kinder to everyone on social media, right? So.
Yeah, and Double P's reminding me, we lost a good friend, Groove the Most, last year.
Mhm.
And that was terrible because he was an amazing DJ from Philly, friends with Jazzy Jeff, and he was
Wow.
part of our community. He was playing 45s, and then he just sort of disappeared, and we found out he got really ill. And then you'd see these posts on Instagram of him, in hospital wards, and it was really hard to watch, because you could see the slow demise of someone you knew as a friend, someone I've never met, but someone I'd connected
Mhm.
with on Twitch, who was part of our community, and then sadly passed. And the first thing we did is we did a fundraising raid train. We were like, right, let's see if we can raise some money to, you know, help in any way that we can. But yeah, it's tough, and I hate to say it, and I say it to quite a few of my friends when I see them out. We are getting older. This is going to get more common. People we know are going to start dying more, because we are
Mhm.
getting older. And again, it's not a funny thing to say, but it's, we went to a wedding of my friend on Saturday. But
Mhm.
I said to, when I went to get my hair cut, I was saying to my hairdresser, I was like, nowadays at my age, I'm going to more funerals than I am
Mhm.
weddings. And it's just interesting how life has taken that sort of different direction. And again, we're also busy. You go to a funeral or whatever it is, and we're also busy, and you just think, okay, you try and compartmentalize the grief or whatever's going through your head then, but it doesn't hit you till later.
Yeah,
You know,
for
you've got
sure.
so much else going on. You're trying to keep going. You're trying your family. You're trying to keep your work going. Trying whatever, and then suddenly, bam, it will hit you. And that's something I think we need to be able to talk about, because it's going to happen more. We're going to lose our parents. We're going to lose other family
100%.
members.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to lose whatever. You know, we're going to get ill. You know, our friends are going to get cancer. We know people are going to have heart attacks, because this is what happens. You know, as you get older,
Mhm.
this is what happens. So on top of all the health issues, we need to try and keep our minds agile. And I think streaming is a good way that we can do that, but also open to be able to talk to people about these things that we're going through.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And also, yeah, it's so true. And actually, Mariposa, that's a great comment. I didn't know that. She said that he was DJ Jazzy Jeff's MC. So I didn't know that. That's
No, I didn't
interesting.
know that actually, but yeah, that sounds like it could be true.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were good friends.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So, yeah, so you never underestimate the power of who you talk to, you guys, like who's in your chat room, whether you stream, whether you don't, always show kindness to people. You don't know what people are definitely going through. And everyone has a story. So, behind the smile, they even say depression is the smile, right? Like you look at Robin Williams
Yeah,
and Kate Spade, all these people, like you would never think in a million years, right? Them smiling, their dancing videos, different things happening, that they were going through stuff, right? So it's always important to check in on people, even though we're busy. We're all busy. It's important to definitely check in on friends, family, and just people, in
and
general.
I think the way I sort of do that is
Hmm.
through, and I've done this ever since I've been on Twitch, organizing raid trains or organizing events, because you get people together, and I found that it also gives people a purpose. You know,
Hmm.
they might have nothing else, like you said. You know, you've always got to find, there's that sort of purpose to keep you going. They might have nothing else, but they know that they've got to show up and do a Twitch stream or something like that. Um, and so it's been a great way to keep people with something to be interested in, and always have something to look forward to. That's something that I've always tried to do. You know, you're doing whatever you're doing this weekend, make sure you've got something to look forward to afterwards, to try and avoid, as we were saying earlier, this sort of drop off and dips. But it's also a way of keeping in touch with people. You know, if
Yeah.
I know that I've got 2 raid trains or 3 raid trains a week or whatever it is, and we do like a weekly show and we do monthly shows as well, I can check in with people. And I'm like, oh, how you doing? You know, how's it going? Here's like the flyers for this week, blah blah blah. And it's like you're saying, it's like a check-in, um,
Hmm.
almost like a scheduled check-in, because they're on my shows. I know I've got to check in with them, but it's also serving that purpose of checking in and making sure they're okay.
Yeah, exactly, and checking in on streamers, because yes, this is a great outlet of escape for all of us. I mean, we've all been there, right? But, also it can lead to burnout too, right? Like, how do you find that
Definitely.
balance streaming? Like, because sometimes streamers could get so addictive. I know I was there too a couple years ago. Like, you're just like, even if you don't feel like it, you're like, "I wanna get on, I wanna get on." It's like an adrenaline rush, and you're always on, and
Yeah.
that can lead to burnout too. It could be kind of unhealthy in a way as well, you know?
It's it's knowing when to step back.
Mhm.
And we've talked about Double P, and every now and again, he will not lose interest with it, but it's the thrill and the dopamine and whatever you're getting isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So you don't want to stream it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm giving it up. I'm going to stop DJing. I'm not going to do this anymore." And I actually had someone else message me the other day saying, "Oh, he's saying all of this. Is he okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, he's fine. It's just it's a dip, and it's
Mhm.
something that we can talk about." Um, but yeah, there is a lot of burnout. And for example, we didn't quite talk about it, but you're talking about
Mhm.
playing at the wrong speed, that 33.
Yes.
Slow Mo Monday, that's something that was run by Don Champ Sound and Barty Cuts, and then it's run by Dr. Breasty Cray and Barty Cuts. Um, and then they just took a break. They just took a step back. They were
Mhm.
like, we're doing this every week. We're organizing people every week. We're DJing every week. Let's just take a break. And it's really important to do that every now and again, um, because it comes back to what you were saying earlier on about the drop off. You get the adrenaline before you stream,
Yeah.
you get the adrenaline during the stream, and then you come off it, and then straight away you're like dipping,
Yeah.
and that is addictive.
And then
and I
you
think
wanna go back on again. It's like
yeah,
social media, they say
yeah,
it is like it does the same thing in your brain, guys, like cocaine does. That's insane.
yeah.
Like your like endorphins or those hits like in your brain, and that's why people are scrolling, 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 right? But sometimes it's good. I agree. I think we've all been there. Okay, I'm gonna quit. Okay, you stop for a while, then you go back. And I try to just DJ when I feel inspired now. Like I'm not on regular shows anymore except this talk show.
Yeah.
And sometimes if I do jump on, it'll be like 6 hours. I can't stop, right? So
It's a real
yeah.
addiction, and I say this to people. My my good friend Scotty Boy up in Edinburgh.
Mhm.
He was a bit delayed getting into streaming because he was waiting for his house to be finished built. So he was like a year or two behind us, and then he got into it, and I was like to him, "You're going to be addicted. You're going to be streaming all the time." No, 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 I'm not. And then before you know it, it becomes twice a week, 3 times a week,
Exactly,
4 times a week,
exactly. Yeah,
5 times a week, 6 times. It gets ridiculous,
it does,
but it's
and I
also
don't know how you
a time.
do it balancing a family, like, that's a lot balancing a family too, you know?
Yeah, I think it probably helps. My wife works in the evening, so that gives me sort of
Oh,
evening
okay,
time. I'm sort of looking after my daughter, but she goes to bed. Um, but yeah, I think it's just
and she knows
I don't
exactly where you are, she can monitor you. No, I'm just
exactly.
joking. I'm just joking. She can monitor
Exactly.
you. Let's see, where's he at? Is he
What's he
outside or is
doing?
he
Yeah,
on
who's he
Twitch? What's
talking
he
to? Yeah,
doing?
yeah, yeah.
Or maybe
And it's
after how
yeah.
many years have you been married for, can I ask? We always talk about Kyle
We got
too,
married
so.
in 2008,
Oh, I love that. That's
so
awesome.
we'll be
So at this
celebrating
point, it's
60
probably
years.
like, "Ah, whatever. I'm not checking him. He could do whatever he wants to do. Gives me a break from him."
Yeah, there might be an element of that. I think I think on an interesting level, I think what it is we're both creative. She's a dance teacher. I mean, I've got a separate job anyway. This isn't my
That's
job, but
nice.
it's a
Yeah.
case of we're both creative and we both encourage each other. So like she's like, "Oh, I'm going to
Oh, I love that.
do this. I'm going to do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." And then I say to her, "Right, let's go to Panama." These ridiculous ideas, and she's like,
That's
"Yeah, okay.
cool.
Let's do
Does
it."
she
So
jump on your stream? Does she, jump on your stream or
no, no. She
much?
likes to stay
Okay.
behind the camera. She comes on the chat sometimes. So if you see Jeweled Bird, then that's her. She comes on, but yeah,
Yeah,
there's some
16
other stuff
years.
we're sort of working on in the background. But yeah, I think she leaves it to me and Zizi, so I think she's quite happy just to let us
Ooh,
do our
the
thing.
I love that. I love that, and congrats to you guys. I know I was trying to calculate in my head and I couldn't. Thank you, Mariposa. 16 years. I was gonna say before we get to Mimi's question, she's got a great question. What keeps okay, so aisle 2 here on the Honey Flow Show is either if you're single looking for love,
Right.
or if you're in a relationship, it's restoring the love,
Okay.
or if you're just done with everyone and you're like, forget it. It's just about agape love. Like that is the aisle every human being needs to be in on the Honey Flow Show. So I'm going to ask you, going back to aisle 2, like you guys have kept it going 16 years. That's not easy. I know people that are ending and getting divorced after 20-year relationships, and I don't get it. I'm like, you're literally at the mark. You're already past the point. Like for me as a single, I can't comprehend it, but obviously people have problems and the pandemic has really shown a lot, right? But I was going to ask you what keeps like what would your advice be to people? I know you're not the spokesperson for marriage, but 16 years is an accomplishment. So what could you
Yeah,
say to
I
people
think
to encourage
we're in
them?
quite an unusual situation in that we've known each other and we're
Mhm,
friends for about 16 years before that, or something. No, not quite that much, but anyway. So I'd known each other for quite a while as friends, and then obviously there just came this point where we were both single, and
mhm,
we just sort of got together, and then from then it just seemed right. This is just pretty natural. So because we knew what each other was like, so we're lucky in that respect, but obviously not all relationships are like that. And especially if you're
mhm,
meeting someone new, you've got no idea what they're like. It takes you so many
mhm,
years to sort of meet. So that's that. But I think for us, we've just always been there for each other.
hmm,
I was talking to you earlier about the sort of miscarriages and things that she went through, and I was just there for her. And then during the pandemic, I was having quite a lot of issues with work, and my mental health wasn't great. And she was able to sort of not return the favor, but sort of help me. And I think we just appreciate what the other person is doing for us. And again, like we said, let the other person be themselves. I think that's
Hmm.
the most, if you're trying to make someone be what you want them to be, or they're trying to be something they don't want to be, that's what starts to build a lot of resentment.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so true.
and I
But don't
think,
people change after kids and,
oh,
as you get
definitely,
older,
yeah,
there's
it's,
not the
and I think
same.
that's the other thing. People do change after kids. We are not fortunate, but we've only got one child, which I think makes the
Mhm.
dynamic a lot different. Which again allows us to do things that we'd like to do. For example, she wants to go and stay away for a couple of days and just read books for in a shepherd's hut or something like that. I want to go and DJ with my friends in wherever it is in Edinburgh. So it's that's important, but also trust. You know,
Mhm.
we trust each other, and like you say, she can always look up and see what I'm doing
Mhm.
because most of the time
Google
it's true.
him. Wifey,
Yeah.
Google him right now. See where he's at. Put a tracker on his phone. No, just kidding.
But yeah, I
Put
see
an
some
ankle
comments there.
bracelet on his ankle. You know what an ankle bracelet is? Do you know what an ankle bracelet is in the
Yeah,
UK? Streds, do you know what an ankle bracelet is? I know all the Americans know what an ankle bracelet is. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble by the Americans right now. Mariposa is like, really, honey flow? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Streds does know what it is. Okay. Um, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Salmon says, I'm amazed my wife hasn't sold me. What's TBF? I don't even know what that
to be
is.
fair.
Oh, to be fair. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. I just learned something new today. Mariposas is
there you go.
whipping
You're
out the
talking about
paddle
the
at me.
British slang.
Yeah, I don't know. I learned all these bad words from Inch High and David C. Dennis, and they were all trying to get me to say bad words on my show. I had no idea. Like Bristol cities, and I had no idea. You guys have your own slang in the UK.
Yeah, I mean,
And
just like
everyone was cracking up, making fun of me anytime I interviewed someone from the UK. And I'm like, "But I don't find that very funny. Why the heck would you name that after a city?" I'm like, "I don't get it. I don't get it." Like, anyways, whatever.
yeah.
But they're being bad. Inch High and them, they kept saying, "Honey Flo, say this." And then they're like, "Say that." And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna say that. What does that mean?" "Yeah, Inch High." "Oh, how do you not believe it?" Somebody send the message to Inch High. She's a bad gal. She's sweet,
I think
but
that's
she's bad.
sarcasm.
Hmm?
That's sarcasm from
Oh,
she.
that's sarcasm? Oh, that's sarcasm? Yeah, she
Yeah,
was being naughty. I was like,
here we
"Can't
go.
believe you're telling me to say this." I'm gonna get kicked off of YouTube and Facebook. I'm glad they don't understand British, like, slang or whatever. But, yeah, they're getting me to say all kinds of stuff,
Yeah,
and they kept laughing. Let's see here. Oh, and not your average guy. You've been like 20 or 30 years married, right? How you doing? He says never try to mold your partner into the perfect mate. It usually causes problems. Yes,
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
so true. And he says 16 years is rare. Salute to you. Mariposa had a great comment. Pandemic showed some married couples that they really didn't like each other, which
well,
is
yeah, exactly. I mean,
true.
that was the. I guess we weren't quite forced together because of what I was doing at work. I still had to go out, so I had sort of that tiny bit of freedom where I could go out, and she was stuck indoors. Because yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think what we went through. It's we're talking about being the last generation to remember all of this stuff that we were talking about earlier. The fact
Mhm.
that we as adults will remember the pandemics. I mean, what are the kids going to remember? I don't know what the kids are going. Might not even
I'm
remember.
sure kids will remember this. Maybe not your child because she was much younger, maybe 7 years old, but
Yeah,
I'm sure anyone that's like 10 years and older will probably remember, I feel bad because a lot of kids couldn't celebrate their grads, their proms.
yeah,
They couldn't have a normal high school. Like, can you imagine? Remember with us, it was like Degrassi High when we were growing up, in high school or junior high. Like, that was the big thing, your outfits
yeah.
and what you're wearing and going out and mingling with your friends, and to have none of that, oh, I don't know. That would be a lot.
It's tough, and I think again, it's we're not going to know for many years the entire
Yeah,
impact of what it's had on all of us.
so true. Not your average guy
Yeah,
says, "The pandemic tested a lot of marriages. If yours survived,
yeah,
congrats."
yeah. I
So
mean, it was
true.
forced. You were forced to spend time with each other.
Yes.
There
Not
was no,
even just marriages, I think it's
yeah,
also friendships,
relationships,
it's
families.
coworkers, it's whether you were vaccinated, whether you weren't, and that huge divide that they kind of created amongst humanity, like, which is crazy, but yeah, I think it would be even harder in a house, in a home as well. Oh wow, she was a police officer. Oh my gosh, I'm like fangirling your wife. DJ Double says my wife was still working during pandemic due to being a police officer. Wow. Oh my
She
gosh.
DJs. She's one of our
Oh, is she?
lady DJs. Yeah, Lady
What's her
Pitsy.
Oh, could you drop her name?
She's well, I say she's, yeah,
DJ Double?
she's not like a regular streamer. She does some
Oh.
of our special events, like when we do International Women's Day,
Oh, nice.
or it's a whole family. It's amazing. It's so Paul is Double P. He DJs as one of our 45s DJs. His son Minimal P and his wife, and they've
Mhm.
done sets where all three of them are DJing together. It's incredible.
Oh my gosh, not your average guys making me
Yeah,
laugh.
if your
Those
kids,
2, if your kids still like you, congrats as
there
well.
is that as well. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I think we need to interview him next. He's probably got some spicy, crazy stories. Okay, so I know Mimi Berry had a question up here I
Yeah,
posted
where was that?
that was really good. She says, "How do you decide to take a break when you have the craving to be on," which is very true, but know you really need a break? And I'm gonna ask you that one. Yeah.
um, I probably get a little bit moody, and the problem is I just replace it with my phone.
I know,
Um,
I do too. It's
it's really annoying
horrible.
because I'm just sitting. I can see where I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I want to stream, but I don't want to stream. It's difficult because I stream quite a lot. Not for
Mhm.
I'm not like 2, 3, 4, 5 hour sort of streams. I just stream like an hour, and then maybe another hour, and then maybe a talk show or whatever it is. So it's a little bit more broken up.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's a real addiction. You know,
It is a
I think
real
for me,
addiction.
I'm now working on what I want to do in the autumn, in the fall, to sort of basically try and cut down how much I'm streaming, but try and make it work. So a bit streaming smarter rather than harder. And I've got a few ideas. It's just getting a few people on board and saying, right, let's go with this. Let's see if this could work. So, for example, you'd be live for 3 or 4 hours, like we're doing now with dual streaming.
Mhm.
But you're live for 3 or 4 hours, but you're only actually DJing for an hour. But there is a show that's going on each of these persons' communities. So, yeah, I need to cut back, I think, a little bit, but I think I just need to focus on what sort of shows I want to be doing going forwards.
Mhm. Yeah. Hey, we got Insty Does It. Do you know that person? Insty Does It?
I think so. I think they're probably from my yeah,
Okay.
they're in my chat. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, so
Insty,
for
great to
all
see
you
you.
guys that don't know, we're streaming to his channel and a few others of his channels. The chat and everything is actually on my channel under DJ
Yeah.
Honeyflow, but make sure you guys are adding 45 Day. It's been such a great interview as well. So thanks for coming through, you guys. We appreciate you. Oh, Tilt, I had no idea you married someone from the UK. I didn't know that. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, so make sure you guys are adding him. Definitely. Good to see you. Insty does it as well. And I know we're going to be wrapping up soon, but I was going to ask you, like, if you had anything on your DJ bucket list, whether it's like DJing an arena on a stage or massive, crazy festival like Coachella, like, what would that look like to you? What would you want to do on your bucket list for DJing?
That's a really good question. I think I've DJed at Glastonbury, but I've only DJed at sort of
Nice.
crew bars and some of those things. I think getting to DJ on some of the bigger stages, it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But I think in reality, it's being able for me to put on my own thing, I think, is what I'd
Hmm.
like to do. I've started. We've done a little camping and music weekend last year with the 45 kids and Zizi, and we had other kids, and we've got another one happening in a few weeks' time. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one because I think if you'd asked me that 20 years ago, I think I would have said, I
Hmm.
want to be on this stage, or I want to be in this club, or I want to be in this. But um, that's not really what drives me anymore.
Yeah.
What drives me is the community and putting something on. And I don't even have to be like the headline DJ at my own events because that's not really what I'm interested in. How about DJing on a Twitch
I
crew?
like
That
that.
sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah,
I
you know,
know
you
that
can make it
some.
happen. Do you know Portia Live? Like, she just started DJing, and now she's traveling the world, Brazil, Canada,
Wow,
States, like, everywhere. She's everywhere playing house music, you know?
that's amazing.
And she's setting up different events, but it was networking, I think, with a lot of people on Twitch too. So they're just setting it up city to city, right? I could see that
Yeah.
happening for you.
I mean, we're sort of.
I mean,
it,
you've
it-
already
it's
done it in
it's
different
it's not
countries.
quite that. It's not a cruise, but next week we're going to Hamburg, and what started off as a tiny little idea. I was talking to my man Swalansky, and I saw that they were doing 45s events on a boat party in Hamburg. And I said, "Oh, what would be the chances of us doing that next year and maybe adding another couple of venues here and there?" And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And then we got NMX involved and Emu. So we are doing a boat party next Saturday in Hamburg, which is already sold out, and we've got 8 DJs all playing 45s, which is just one part of a 3-day weekend festival. So yeah, I think it's weird, but sort of doing what I'm doing is each time it's taking me to that sort of higher level of what I want to achieve, and I'm like, wow, this is happening. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Struds is like, "Come DJ on my ship." He actually works on a ship in the middle of the ocean
Okay.
somewhere. But it's not like a cruise ship, but that would
Yeah,
be
I
funny.
think there is. I did a raid train. I forget the name of the person who
That
invited
would
me,
be dope, Struds.
but they were talking about a cruise that they'd
Mhm.
organised for their community of DJs on Twitch and people who follow them, which then went somewhere, I think, in the Caribbean, and then they just had set up parties on the beach. So, yeah, I guess something like that. I mean, Panama was amazing, but I guess, yeah, a Twitch cruise where you're stopping off all these amazing islands. Uh, yeah, not the North Sea.
That would be fun. When you DJ'd in Panama, how was the
Yeah.
reception with all you guys? Like, the ones that were not
Um,
Panamanian DJs,
it
like, how was it with
it was amazing. It was, we didn't know how it was going to go because obviously, like most places, the younger crowd are into sort of house music or techno or drum and bass or whatever. But I think they really appreciated the depth of music that was played. There was funk, there was hip hop, there was Latin, there was reggae, there was, dance music, drum and bass. There was all sorts of stuff, and it was great to see the younger generation not only playing. Obviously, my daughter, and then there were some other young DJs as well. But it was all genders, and it was really inclusive.
And she
Uh,
probably has the most eyes on her being not only the youngest, but a
yeah,
female DJ for sure, has a
yeah,
lot
and
of eyes
again,
on
we did. We always try as much as we can to involve women DJs. So we had Madame Totti, who is Malong's wife, and she hadn't DJed for ages. And I was like, oh, she should come out and DJ. And then she played an amazing reggae set.
Mhm.
We had Clau O, who's a record label part owner. And they put out amazing Panamanian music, and she came along and played these like amazing 80s stuff that I've never heard of before, but it's relatively cheap to buy, and it's brilliant. But it was a really good vibe, and I think the sense of community is what's
Mhm.
important at all the events that we do. It's a sense of community. It's bringing people together. It's what we've done on Twitch in terms of bringing people together to do an event like a raid train, and we're now doing that in the real world, in real places, and hopefully making more and more interesting events for people to come to.
Yeah. Have you had any, memorable events that you could think of on Twitch that's happened, like, on your show?
On Twitch, uh, I think it's just there's the sheer scale of what I'm doing. But for when we hit last year, so this year we hit 5 years. Last year in November, the 4th of November, we hit
Wow,
4.5 years
wow.
of 45 day. So I decided my ridiculousness is probably the longest thing I did. I decided I'm going to organize a 4.5 day raid train of all 45s. So
Mhm.
literally just organized that. I just reached out to everyone, and we had part of that was like an event from a record shop in Germany. We did a live event with the 45 kids. So my daughter Zizi and also Indie Mix, who's another of our 45 kids girls DJs. And DJ Arlo was over from France. So he played, and they played in Rare Kind Records, which is my favorite record shop probably in the world. But it's also where DJ Arlo used to dig when he was like 3 years old. He'd be on the floor, sort of going through the
Oh, wow.
45s and just picking out that. So I think for me that one and some of the events that we've done with ZZ are probably the ones that are going to stand out, because yeah, it's cool. I've been out and DJ'd and done whatever I've done, but it's great to see the next generation coming through and enjoying it as much as we enjoy it.
Yeah. Have you had any like funny moments or any disaster moments that have happened to you on Twitch?
On Twitch, we can
Mhm.
talk about funny moments. Do you know the song The Muppets, Mana Mana? You know
The
that song?
Muppets?
Yeah, the
I
Mana
I think
song.
I know the Muppets song, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to sing it, sort of getting people's minds, but it's
Actually,
the
no, I
song.
don't know it. I don't know it, so I think you're gonna have to sing like a little line.
I might have it somewhere. No, anyway, it's like do 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 mana mana do 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 do, that thing, right? So
Okay.
we play it for. You didn't get me rapping, but you got me singing.
Yes,
We
I
play it for
did.
Double P because he loves it on the basis that it gets in his head, and it's an earworm once you've heard it. And you can just look at the picture. If you just look at the picture of that, then you know what he's doing. But you were talking earlier about the sort of speed, and obviously we normally play 45s at 45s. If you play them at
Mhm.
33, you can play them at 33. My decks have got, if you press both of them, you get to 78.
Oh,
So
wow.
straight
Okay.
away it's fast. But I've also got plus or minus 50%. So I can
Mhm.
take it from 78 up to like 111, and that just becomes chipmunk music. And ZZ loves doing this. He's like, oh, all right, let's put the Manamana song. So put some Muppets on. So do 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 do, and then obviously just then speeds it up, and then just keeps speeding it up, and then it's just like a chipmunk sort of singing
Mhm.
like that. Um, so yeah, yeah, it's funny, but it's just about having fun, you know. And the reason I play slow mo stuff is, one, I think I quite like the sounds it creates, but it's also saying to people, you know, I don't take myself that seriously. You know, I'm a DJ. I love music, but I also like to say, let's see what it sounds like if we do this, or let's see if we sound like what's that. So we have a lot of fun, you know.
Mhm.
And some other stuff we do on my coffee and donuts set on a Saturday morning is, I've got a few sections. So we've got like cover of the week, or we've got like edit of the week. But I do something that I taken from Platt and Pat's official in Germany called Reverse 45. He does the reverse quiz. I think it's on I think Monday night or Tuesday night, where basically he plays records backwards, and people in the chat have to guess what it is
Oh, cool.
and
I
get a
like
point.
that.
So I
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to do reverse 45. So we do that. So, you know, I play the 45, and I just keep playing it backwards from the end until someone guesses what it is. But it's just having fun with it, you know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's funny. People like it, you know, people can get involved, and it's why Twitch works, because it's about interactivity.
Nice. Awesome. I love that. If you guys have any last minute questions, drop it in the chat. Let me know before we leave as well. But if there's any questions for 45 day, drop it in the chat. Make sure you guys are adding him. What would be your favorite genres of music if you had to pick like a few?
It's quite difficult because I like eclectic sets, but the reggae is always something I end up back on, because I just love reggae forever. Hip hop, funk, Latin, world music, cumbia,
Nice.
and cover versions. As a 45s DJ, most 45s DJs are into covers. We're always trying to outdo each other in terms of finding like a cool cover version. So yeah, so that's the sort of stuff that, you know, I'm into, and I play, and then just mix it up. You know,
I like that.
it's great.
Nice. Oh, thank you so much. This Twitch witch slaps with the
Hey, Twitch,
100
Twitch.
bits. Uh, appreciate you. Thank you for the 100 bits and the
It's one of my
support.
mods. Yeah,
Oh, nice. And
welcome in.
everyone that's come through to the show, you guys. I'm going to leave you with one last question. I don't see any
Okay.
questions posted yet. But what would be on your, besides DJing, because I know we talked a lot about music and DJing today, but what would be on your life bucket list? Say if you only had like a few months to live, what would that look like to you, your life bucket list?
I think it would have to be travel. You know, we
Hmm.
used to travel quite a lot before the pandemic. The pandemic then slowed things. Obviously, we had ZZ as well, and I think this year going to Panama has just, you know, reopened or reawakened my desire to sort of travel. So, you know, if we got to that stage, I'd be like, right, let's go and see as much of the world as we can see. Let's go and soak in as much culture from the rest of the humans here. So yeah, travel definitely.
Yeah, and that's very achievable. That's why I like
Yeah,
asking that question, because a lot of people think it's like, "Oh, I'll wait until I retire, or I'll wait until I do this," or, but it makes people think that question that they can actually do it now if they
yeah.
plan, right? I mean, if you're able to do it with a family and plan all of this in Panama, I think that's incredible. It really
Yeah, I
is.
mean, I had a lot of help from Malong and obviously the venue and all the rest of it. And
Mhm.
obviously we're in a position that we could do it. Not everyone can fly the other side of the world. But yeah, no, we're very, very grateful for what we do. Um,
Yeah, I think
Insti
we
does it.
covered it. Yeah, we
We did
covered
ask
it
it earlier,
earlier,
but
but
yeah,
go
just
ahead.
in case
Yeah.
you missed it, I think about 4,500. How do I convince her to let them keep me?
That's hilarious. I like that question.
Um, well, she's okay. It's my money that I'm
Are
spending.
you sure this isn't your wifey undercover, like working right now, but then checking the show? Because that's what I would do if I were married, and go under Insty does it. Go under that username and be like, "How
That
does
I
your
don't think
spouse
that's
let
my
you
wife.
keep
No.
them?" Oh, I don't wanna cause any trouble. Can you imagine
No, no,
your
it's all
wife's
cool.
listening
It's all cool.
listening? "What the heck? Insty's your wife?" Oh, no, wait, Insty's a dude, I think. Anyways, I
He
can't
is a
tell.
dude.
Your pictures are so small, so who knows?
It's very difficult to see on here, yeah.
Yeah, but,
He's got
sorry,
he's got a ton
Insty.
of vinyl as well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, it's something we joke about,
Is this
so
something he's asking for himself? Because his wifey doesn't let him keep
no,
his
some
vinyls?
people do have to. I think occasionally if I explain how much a particular record costs, my wife does like, "What? Why does it cost that much?" And it is much more expensive than it used to be. But other people do have to pretend that their records don't cost very much, or they do have to sometimes sneak them in.
How many
Um,
vinyls do you have, Insty? I hope your wife's watching. I hope she's watching right now. Sorry, I'm scaring you guys. Oh, man. Yeah, he's definitely asking for himself. How much do you have? And you mentioned you had about, what was it, over 4,000?
I think I've got about 4,500. Yeah,
Wow.
45s.
How much is one? They're very pricey here. Some could be 50 to over $100. Like, it's ridiculous
It
out here.
depends what you're buying. If you're buying like a new record, like a
Mhm.
new release, you're probably talking about £15 at the moment,
I
which I
wonder how much
think
that works out to be
is it
Canadian.
probably about $2, $2 Canadian maybe. I might be
What?
wrong.
$2 Canadian? I
I
should go
might be
record
wrong.
shopping
I
out
might be
there.
wrong. I'll have
Oh,
to.
man, it's cheap out there. But your dollar kills us. It's killing me, your pounds.
Oh,
It
pound.
it
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, it's way 'cause, Canadian dollar is about half the American dollar, and you're higher than
So
the
we are
American
probably
dollar.
about 2, yeah. So
Yes.
1.7, there you go, £1 sterling equals 1.74 Canadian
You
dollars.
guys should come up to Canada. If you come to Canada, you'll be rich. You'll get money back.
Yeah. I mean, it's on, you said about bucket list. I mean, it's on the list because I do have some DJ friends in Canada.
Yeah.
And we have sort of vaguely talked about, probably in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years' time, organizing a weekend with the 45 DJs who I know in Canada and stuff. So yeah, Toronto's definitely likely to happen because quite a lot of the DJs are based there. Possibly Montreal, possibly Quebec. I don't know. We'll see.
Mhm. Well, I think Insty, what you should do, it sounds like you have a major problem on your hands, especially with your wifey and sneaking in vinyls. I think you should just get rid of your 5,000. It's too much in your room, and give it to Canadian. That's what I think you need to do, is just gift wrap them and ship them to a Canadian. That's what will solve your problem. Wow, he's
Yeah.
got 250 45s. I guess you wouldn't know a ballpark figure of how much you spent over the years. Well, it seems
No,
like you know
I
the
don't.
45s.
I
Like,
don't, and it's difficult because some of them are bought at like record shops, some of them bought at boot
mhm.
fairs, some of them bought online. So yeah, I'd probably have a relatively accurate record of what I bought online, but the rest of it would be quite difficult. So
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I wanna thank you so much I don't think
thank
I
you.
see any other questions here, but thank you so much for this interview, staying as long as you did as well. It was such a great conversation with you, and, looking forward to checking out your shows, more. Actually, why don't you let people know when you're on? Like which shows you do, what times you're on, days, so they know when
So
to
yeah,
come?
so the schedule struggles a little bit because I don't have a regular schedule other than on a Saturday morning we have Coffee and Donuts, which is a show we've been running since the pandemic. There you go, show 158 we're doing on Saturday, and that's 45's DJ. So I normally play 9 a.m. UK time on a Saturday, and that's where I include these other sections. Normally on a Monday I'm on a raid train, and then normally Tuesdays or Thursdays I've got talk shows. But yeah, it just varies. Lots of little pop-ups and things like that. So um, yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for the invite. You know, it's great. I wish I had got them all for 50p from Woolworths. You know, back then they were really cheap.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, shoestring is reminding me we've got it covered tomorrow night. It's a raid train I do with shoestring, and it's all cover versions, but it's really open. We've got DJs who play vinyl, we've got DJs who play digital, we've got Salmon Matters who sings, we've had ADP who sings, and also Salmon Matters plays the kazoo and also plays the guitar. So if any one of you are streamers and you like your cover versions and would like to get involved, then just let me or Shoestring know. We're really open and we'd like to get as many people involved as possible.
Okay, awesome. Now, I don't know if you can see. Oh, thank you so much, Bright Eye Sunflower. Make sure you guys add her. She does an amazing, talk show, and she also more of a
Cool.
motivational show, and she also dances to soca music, and she's in her
Amazing.
60s, and she does handstands on the wall, on the
Wow.
wall.
Wow.
So there's no excuse for any of us. One of these days, I'm going to try surprise her and do like a handstand on the wall, but like people are gonna fall over because
Yeah.
they're not gonna be used to me doing like she legit crawls up the wall and does a handstand, guys, and does all these dance. Actually, your wife would enjoy her because if
And,
she's a
and,
dance
and probably
instructor.
Zizi as well. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Are
sure.
you familiar with soca music out there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So, she's from the Netherlands, but she'll literally do dancing and
Amazing. Yeah.
handstands
I
on the
was in the
wall.
Netherlands a little while ago. I got friends in
Yeah. So,
Amsterdam and other places. I
your
got one of
wife's a
my
dancer,
mods.
your wife would
Yeah.
probably between your wifey, and Bright Eye Sunflower, you guys can help me, dance a little more on my
We're
streams.
gonna follow. Yeah, we're gonna follow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely follow. That's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, definitely follow. All right. Well, so I'm just seeing, I don't know if you can see your phone, but if you'd like to raid into anyone, I could leave it up to you. If you can't, that's okay.
Oh, what in terms of so my raid or from your raid or from your
Yeah,
channel?
like I could raid
Yeah, let me
I'll
have a
raid in
look.
from my channel.
What day are we on with
I guess you'd
Wednesday?
probably have to rate in from your channels, but thank you everyone for tuning in to the Honey Flow show. I'm
Let's
usually
go
on Wednesday night.
to yeah, rather conveniently. Yeah, okay. Do you know DJ Flip Out in Canada?
Oh, actually, let's
And
see.
see,
I'm
so
gonna
it's
just
literally DJ and then FLIPOUT. There's no underscores. There's nothing. He's an amazing DJ, and he's actually on Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is a regular weekly vinyl event. I'm on it sort of once a month. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go and see.
okay, cool.
Let's see Flip
Actually I just
in.
followed him. I'm gonna
And
definitely do that.
bizarrely, he's got 45 viewers at this time. Can't make
Ooh,
this stuff up.
nice.
I love my numbers, and it's like the numbers are just sort of following. It's
Mhm.
hilarious.
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, we're going to DJ Flip Out, you guys, in case you missed the raid. Feel free to copy my raid message. Just put the raid emotes in there. I like the raid message with the bees. It's just fun and cute. We're raiding in, uh, yeah, with the bees here. So, yeah, definitely copy the raid message. I'm just trying to. It's okay. Or you can copy Mimi Berry's message, either one. But here it is. Oh, how did you do that? I need to figure that out. How did you do that? You put raid in there. How did you do that? Anyways, thank you, Mimi Berry. Okay, so we're gonna go to DJ Flip Out, you guys. Thank you so much for coming through to the Honey Flow show. Make sure everyone in the room adds 45 day. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, if you're on Twitch, if you're catching the replay, because a lot of people do afterwards, make sure you guys are adding this dope person, streamer, and DJ 45 day from the UK. All
Thank you
right.
so much. It's been a pleasure. You know that those 2 hours and 15 minutes have flown by, and yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, and yeah, they always definitely do. And if you wanna say bye to anyone in the chat, feel
Yeah,
free
just
to.
take it easy, everyone. I'm going to see you all probably tomorrow if I got it covered. But yeah, Salmon Matters, Double P. We probably had Staffy Smile in there as well, Shoestring, and Strads, and anyone I've missed. Anyone I've missed, I think. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here.
Okay.
Thank you for
Oh,
joining.
did I do this wrong? It keeps saying it won't accept it. Mimi Berry, are you able to raid out to DJ Flip Out? I'm not sure if you
Let's
are.
see.
I don't know why. I just
Uh,
punched it in and it won't accept the raid. I don't know why. Did I do
okay,
this
I
wrong?
think
You have to
mine
go forward slash. Oh, maybe because
forward
I put
slash RAID.
whoops. I put raid out.
No,
That's
that's fine.
probably why. I haven't done it in a while, guys. Okay, here. I think I got it. Okay. Uh, oh, I did put at. Okay, I think the raid's going, you guys. We're going to try it. Thank you guys for coming through. Feel free to hit the follow tab, hit it on 45 day. And if you're enjoying the interview, check me out. Hit the follow tab, DJ Honeyflow. And I am on every Wednesday night too on my talk show and just pop ups whenever I feel like it. So definitely stay tuned. Thank you, DJ 777, Struds, Mimi Berry, who else? Yeah, I do see it going through. Salmon Mattis, from the beginning of the show, some of you guys have been here. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Mariposa. Um, so many people. Bright Eye Sunflower. Not Your Average Guy. Shoestring Sound as well. Thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Insty does it. We're looking for your vinyls in Canada. So thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Let's see here. Oh, this Twitch slaps as well.
This Twitch which
Um,
slaps. Yes, yes.
oh, yes. Thank you for coming through. And everyone else, good to see you guys. And yeah, oh yeah, and Struds too. Oh, Tilt. I see Tilt there too. Thank you guys for coming through to the show, DJ Double. And we'll see you guys. Stick around even for 5 minutes. It helps a streamer. So definitely support him. And it looks like he's going to have a full room. Okay, I'm going to
There you
try.
go. Yeah, the raid's gone through.
Oh, did it go through? Okay,
Yeah.
sometimes it leaves people. Oh, whoops. Sometimes
Yeah,
it
so
leaves
what we do is we do like
just
an Uber raid. We just do a
yeah,
second
just
raid.
do another raid. Okay, I'm going
Yeah,
to try that right now too.
yeah, it normally
Oh,
picks up
whoops.
one or two people, sometimes more, sometimes three or four.
Yeah, I wonder why it does that. I miss the hosting and some of the stuff we had on
Oh,
Twitch.
I sort of miss it, but then I don't because we were following so many channels. I found that
But
you
then
had
you know where everyone is, right? Because the
yeah,
hosting's
yeah,
on
there
your
is that,
channel?
yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
so I kinda miss that.
sort of coming back to my idea of, streaming on more than one channel, if you know you're checking out a raid train, for example, and you've got 4 streamers, you could go to
Mhm.
any of their 4 channels and you pick up the raid.
Yeah, you don't do you stream on multiple channels at the same time?
Only when I'm doing the talk shows.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So the talk shows, yeah, yeah. So normally I do Twitch, Instagram, and either Facebook or YouTube. So tonight I'm just doing Twitch and YouTube.
yeah, I
But when
gotta
I'm
figure out
when I'm DJing, it's just on Twitch.
oh, I gotta figure out Instagram. I haven't done that yet, so I gotta definitely figure that out.
Yeah, it's about reels. It's doing reels, but it's hard because people have
It
got such
is, you
a
gotta
short
edit.
attention span.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta edit those yeah, you gotta edit your
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't done that to any of my talk shows. I gotta definitely do that. But, yeah, I hope you have a great night. Keep in touch. It was
Thank you
such
so
a
much.
great
Yeah, definitely,
conversation.
definitely. I'll send
Yeah,
you because I've got some stuff that I can chop up that I've been using for reels. But yeah, I can sort
awesome.
of throw it in and then we'll see what comes out.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. And,
cool. But
yeah,
yeah, no, thank you so much for the opportunity. We'd do it. We might do a return one. Like I
yes,
said, I'm working on
of
some
course.
new shows in the autumn. So once I get there and I've got those focused in, then I can start working out guests and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely be down. All right.
yeah,
Well, it was a pleasure
cool.
getting to know you, and
You too.
have a great night. We'll definitely talk soon.
Definitely take it easy.
Okay, see
Right.
ya.